Broadcasting from their world headquarters in Texas, it's the Arcade Repair Tips Live Show. The show that discusses arcade repair, restoration, news, and more. Now, here are your hosts, Tim and Jonathan.
Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 94 of the Arcade Repair Tips Live Show for December 2024. My name is Jonathan Leung. I'm the producer, director, and editor here at the Arcade Repair Tips video series. And joining me today, as always, is Mr. Arcade Repair Tips himself, Tim Peterson. Tim, how are you?
Good.
Good. I know we're kind of lit here. I was trying to do something better with the lighting, Tim. So I actually have like a Mario star that's just kind of lighting us up here. I couldn't find my nice LED light, but I think it's working. I think we get a little bit better. We're not as backlit. Hopefully, before the next live show, I can actually get some of these lights in the game room working. But hopefully it works for you guys, at least for tonight. And, you know, it's kind of symbolic. Christmas
right.
star.
Got the Christmas star.
Exactly. We got everything going. So we're so glad that you guys can join us tonight. And, Tim, I want to go ahead and talk about the live chat real quick. We got Encore MPWs here. They're waving. Encore's Arcade gives us a thumbs up. And the Real Hammer Billy Lee is here. He says, hello, hello. So we already have a couple there in the live chat. Remember that if you are watching us live, you can interact with us during the show by leaving your comments and questions there in the live chat. So we want to thank you guys for being here tonight. And we hope we have a great show for you. Tim, we're going to do some questions tonight. We're going to exchange some Christmas gifts. We're going to talk about some crazy stuff that's happened, particularly in California with a certain arcade being robbed. And we'll talk about some other things as well. But before we get to all of that, Tim, how are you doing?
You know, normally these seem like really quick. Like, it seems like we just did 1 2 weeks. This time it seems like a long time since we've been here. A lot has happened. The last time we were talking about a presidential debate.
Our election.
And we've already had an election.
No,
right?
Last time we talked about the election.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But we were just talking about the debate. Now it's already the election. It's already happened.
Right. Last time the election was over.
Oh, okay.
We did.
So
we did our post-election analysis.
Oh, that's right. Anyway, this last month, November, just flew by for me. What about you?
Oh, absolutely. And it has been several weeks, like you mentioned. I think we may have had 5 weeks in between on this one because November was pretty long. I think November 30th fell like late in the month, and sometimes that happens. And so, but regardless, we're glad that you're here tonight. But it's been a great year, I would say, Tim. This is kind of the year-end wrap-up show too. It's a Christmas show, year-end wrap-up show. So we'll talk about maybe some of the year-end stuff as well as the Christmas stuff here in a bit. So we also have, Bobby Broadway is here. He says, Merry Arcade, Miss Tim.
Okay, thank you.
I will say this too. We're having some problems. Like the stream seems to be fine, but the live chat is kind of going in and out. We've never seen this before. So if you guys are having some issues with the, if you leave something in the live chat and it gives you an error or something like that, let us know. I don't know if it's YouTube having some issues tonight or what, but typically we don't have any issues with the live chat. It's usually pretty good, but tonight for some reason we're having it. So, but the stream looks pretty solid, so maybe it's just a chat issue. I don't know, but we'll continue on. And if for some reason the show goes awry and we lose the stream or something like that, or internet, we will be recording it and we'll put it up at a later time. But hopefully, Tim, everything will hold together with the duct tape that we put in place, and we'll be ready to go pretty soon. Tim, maybe before we get too into it, I will mention that I got my Christmas lights up. Okay, you probably saw that when you came up. Tim saw that. Have you ever looked at the Christmas lights on my house?
Not just randomly, but I can't remember.
The ones on the roof are actually...
You got some new ones,
No,
right?
they're incandescent.
Okay.
They are C9 incandescent light bulbs, not LED.
Okay.
And I'm wondering, so this is a question kind of off topic, but I think it's pretty interesting. If you are still rocking some incandescent light bulbs for your Christmas lights, I want to know. So please leave it in the live chat. I know it's kind of off topic, Tim. I say that, though. We use LEDs in a lot of games now. In fact, the Galaga that I have behind me has an LED for the marquee, LED marquee in it.
If you bought new Christmas lights, it's probably hard to find some that aren't LED, right?
That is true, yeah.
Okay.
Now, you can buy the bulbs, but you can't buy the strands anymore.
Right.
So you can get the replacement C9 incandescents, but you can't get... a lot of times you can't get the strands of the incandescents, so you have to have an older strand and just replace the bulbs. And that's what I've been doing. And then I go to sometimes I go to estate sales and I'll just buy up old Christmas lights, Tim, so that way I have them. So, so there's a reason why only the front of my roof instead of the whole outline is done. Is because incandescents you can't.
They're hard to find.
You can't connect as many together.
Oh,
they pull more voltage, right?
Makes sense.
So that's part of the reason why, but I like the look. It's brighter to me than the LED, and there's something about it. Kind of like what we talked about, the LCD versus the CRT, right?
Right.
So, but anyway, guys, totally off topic, but it is the Christmas episode, so I'll leave it there. Tim, we got a little activity in the live chat before we get into questions real quick. Bobby Broadway says, past month, it does And it sounds like it was pretty fast for him too. Josh says, I just lurked, but my chat was not loading until you refreshed a few times. Probably YouTube having issues. Yeah, so we may be having some issues with the chat, guys. Sorry about that. Like I said, it's going in and out. Stream seems solid, so internet-wise, I think we're good. But if we have some problems with the live chat, I apologize in advance. Hopefully, hopefully YouTube will work out all that stuff. They'll put the right hamsters in the right wheels, and we'll get everything going tonight. So, let's see. And Geek White Odate is here. He says hello from St. Pete, Tim. So there we go.
It's better than the Netflix boxing streaming, right?
That's right, exactly. Tim, we talked about that in the after show that I did away from with Netflix. I am now officially resubscribed.
Uh-oh.
Okay, so I'm back. And
drew you back in, huh?
Yeah, in the after show, we'll talk about what I've been watching on Netflix now. And
okay.
Actually, last month I had it too, because I did The Diplomat, I think you remember, but I didn't officially announce it. So I'm back with Netflix. But anyway, Tim, that's all off topic. That's for after show stuff. Let's get into the questions for this month. Now, Tim, I made the title of this episode In the Bleak Dark Screen.
Okay.
And kind of a play on In the Bleak Midwinter song.
Okay.
Christmas Carol, if you guys are familiar. But the reason why is because there are a plethora of playing blind questions tonight.
Okay. So
we're going to try to take them differently because I do feel like they all kind of present differently. But if you're like, man, I feel like we just heard a playing blind question. You probably did. It's just, I don't know. That seems to be...
It's a common problem.
Right. It's the symptom of the month. So I guess you could say. So with all that said, let us move into our first question. And the first question we have is from Terri, Tim. I'm going to go ahead and put Terry's up on the screen. And they say, help, we have a Prime Arcade's Cocktail Arcade 412-in-1 Game Elf that the screen has gone black. You can hear games, but no picture. Do we need a new monitor, or is there another fix? Thanks for your help. Now, Tim, we got Terry here. And they have a Prime Arcade's Cocktail 412-in-1 Game Elf. So this is a pre-built one by Prime Arcades. Now, over the last year, Tim, Prime Arcades has gone out of business.
Oh, no.
But Prime Arcades was offering pretty long warranties on their stuff, sometimes 3-5 years. And so the problem, though, now is that now that they're out of business...
So what are you going to do?
No warranty, right? And so that makes it a little bit more difficult. But the way she's describing the symptoms, Tim, does sound like playing blind, correct?
It does.
Mm-hmm. So you want to go ahead and give us a little bit for Terry here?
Yeah, and I think,
kind of go off
I think she already said, do we need a new monitor? And... you probably, at this point, it's not a classic arcade. We're not going to tell you to try to save the monitor or do something. Probably the best bet is just to replace it. Because if it's playing blind, you can hear the game, everything's playing, but nothing's going on to the screen. Now, you could check the power going to the monitor, make sure it didn't come unplugged or something, or wiring or something. But it wouldn't surprise me at all if the monitor has went out. A lot of those, too, remember... Have you ever seen a Prime Arcade?
So I looked up a picture, and I'll show a picture here in a second on the slide. So as far as I can tell, Tim, it looks very generic looking. But it sounds like they use off-the-shelf parts. So a Game Elf 412-in-1 board, pretty common. And they're probably using an LCD with that. I just can't imagine them using a CRT.
Yeah, I don't think so. Yeah. And hopefully it could be something just as simple as the monitor went off.
Right.
They do probably have some kind of... programming or something that makes them maybe it didn't automatically start. So I try to find an on-off switch if there's one on it. I don't think you probably don't have a remote or anything, but make sure that it is completely not working, that there's something wrong with it. Maybe even give it a good once over, smell it, stuff like that, see if something actually burned up in there before you go to replace it.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, Tim, because we've seen this with the RetroArcade.us Holland Computers monitors, where they have a power button on them, and they'll save whatever state the monitor was in. So if it was on, when you plug it in, it comes on. But if you turn it off and you plug it in, it's off, and you have to hit the power button again to come on. So it could be something to that effect. I mean, it could just be that the power cable came unplugged,
could
right?
Be.
I mean, it's easy, like, you were shaking the thing, and then, just kind of wiggled out of there. It happens. So definitely want to check the easy stuff first before we go the full monitor replacement route. But for the most part, if you're getting playing blind, we typically do have a monitor problem. So Tim, I'm going to go ahead and put up the slide here for Terry so they can kind of look over it. So unfortunately, Prime Arcades went out of business recently. This means you're probably out of luck when it comes to filing a warranty claim. With that said, the company used mostly off-the-shelf parts like the Game Elf 412-in-1 board to build their cabinets. It sounds like your cocktail is playing blind, which would indicate a monitor issue. You might open up the game and examine the monitor to see if it came unplugged. or if it has a power switch that's off, or other simple fixes. Otherwise, you are looking at a monitor replacement. Now, if it's a 19-inch, you can easily go with the Holland Computer / RetroArcade.us monitor, Tim. That would probably fit the mounting pretty well. Those things run around $200 shipped or less, depending on if they're having a sale or not.
And maybe having a Christmas sale, they usually do.
Yes, exactly. So as we get closer to Christmas, there may be a Christmas sale. There was a Cyber Monday, Black Friday sale, but I think that's past now. RetroArcade.us, you can find a 19-inch LCD there that would work perfectly fine with your Game L412-in-1 board if you need that. But I definitely check the simple fixes first, like Tim mentioned, before moving on to that. Tim, anything else here for Terri before we move on?
No, just get back with us, Terri. Check those simple things first. Don't, sometimes we think too much, too hard. Check the simple. Always start at power, and let's go from there.
Absolutely. So, Terri, hopefully answered your question. And good luck getting that Prime Arcade's cocktail table back up and running again. Let's check the simple things first, then go with the monitor replacement if we need to at that point. Okay, coming back over to the live chat. Now, we haven't disconnected since we started the show, which is good. Joe says, Joe from Detroit here. Hello to all and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you as well, Joe.
Merry
Hopefully
Christmas,
you have a wonderful one. So I mentioned earlier, if there's a couple of questions we have for the audience, if you guys are in the live chat want to tell us. If you're still rocking some incandescent light bulbs for your Christmas lights, I want to know that. Okay. The other thing I do want to know is, what are you asking Santa for Christmas? So what is the present that you would like under the tree? Maybe it's an arcade, like I posted a photo, Tim, of Santa trying to get an arcade down the chimney.
Yes,
yeah, so maybe it's something like that. I don't know. But whatever you're asking for Christmas, let us know in the live chat as well. And are you still rocking the incandescent light bulbs for your Christmas lights? I want to know that just personally. I figured if anybody was going to do that, Tim, it'd be people who are nostalgic about arcades.
Probably so.
Yeah, but anyway, so like if you want to share any of that with us, please do in the live chat as we go through the show. And Tim, with that said, I think we're all caught up on the live chat again. So let us move to our next question from Marcus, Tim. And Marcus writes, "Hello guys, I just got a Pac-Man cabinet for free from my boss." I always like
that one.
I love to repeat that, for free.
Right.
That's very important. "You can hear the music and everything begins to work. The marquee lights up, but the monitor doesn't come on. I do not even get the orange light on the tube." So Tim, we're definitely dealing with a CRT here, just by that. "It's not the fuse. I checked the power that's going to it, but I don't know why the monitor is not showing up. I would appreciate it if you guys could help me out. I am located in Puerto Rico. All right, thank you guys." So Tim, we have Marcus here, and Marcus just got a Pac-Man cabinet for free from his boss.
Can't beat that.
And it sounds, again, like playing blind. Now, this is very different, though. Before we had this Prime Arcade's multi-K that was very off-the-shelf parts.
Our first response was just get another monitor.
Right, but here with Mark...
We're going to slow down a little bit, right?
Marcus, this is a little bit different here in the fact that we do have a CRT monitor, and now this monitor is not coming on, and he's not getting the orange neck glow, which is usually indicative that we're probably having high voltage issues, correct? So, Tim, I'll let you take it from here. What do you think?
What I do like is that he did say it's not a fuse. Right. So he knew to check that.
Right. Now, I'm wondering, there's fuses down in the bottom of the game, but there's also fuses on the chassis.
Could be, yeah.
So make sure you're checking both, okay? Now, some people will look down in the bottom of the game, see the fuses, or will check the fuses in the bottom of the game and be like, it's not a fuse, but it could still be the fuse on your chassis. Tim, as we show in our video on troubleshooting games that are playing blind, that fuse will pop a lot of times if you're having a hot issue or a flyback issue or another high voltage issue. And so you may want to check that on the chassis. Just saying. Continue.
When we were new, Jonathan, we would always say, "Oh, look, we found a burnt fuse." We kind of got excited. It was like we thought that you could just put a fuse in and fix everything. What we didn't realize is the fuse was usually blowing. Fuse usually meant there was a problem that caused the fuse to blow, and usually they blew right away again. Then we had to learn how to troubleshoot that. So one of the things he can watch our video on troubleshooting games that are playing blind, but it does sound like, now, fortunately, he's in Puerto Rico, which is not very far.
Right.
So he could ship his chassis in or get the parts and try to rebuild it. Now, it could be the flyback, it could be the hot, could be a lot of things, and it depends on the skill level. If you want to try those things, that's a good place to start. But at the same time, it may just be cheaper just to send it in, get it repaired, get it shipped back to you, and then you get your game up and going pretty quick.
Absolutely. Now, Tim, he could go with the LCD replacement here as well,
right? He could, and that's what we said. But it's a classic Pac-Man game. We would prefer that you kept it original as could be, kind of like your Christmas lights out there, right?
Right. So
that's our opinion. We think as long that the monitor probably could be rebuilt and fixed and keep it in that original state. I think it looks more original. It will stay original, stuff like that. Now, had that being said, yes, you could put an LCD and have a quicker fix, but it's still some wiring and some stuff that you have to do. It's not a plug-and-play solution with a Pac-Man, so I would definitely try to fix that chassis first.
Sounds good, Tim. So I'm going to go ahead and put the this up here on the screen. Just what we have, and I've got this really dirty Pac-Man that AI generated here, Tim, just to kind of give us a view of what Marcus's Pac-Man looks like. I don't know. Okay. Now this sounds like a classic case of playing blind. The monitor is probably malfunctioning due to an issue in the high voltage section of the chassis, so fuse, hot, flyback, etc. Please see our post and video on troubleshooting games that are playing blind for more information. If you need additional help, please let us know the make and model of your monitor chassis, and we'll try to help you out further. If you're not comfortable doing that kind of repair yourself, like Tim mentioned, you can ship it off to one of our monitor repair technicians on our resources page at arcaderepairtips.com/resources. And Tim, obviously Chad at Arcade Cup is somebody that we recommend a lot. Paul at paulsmonitors.com is another guy that you can get your monitors repaired from. Paul would be very good on these. He's really good on these classic chassis. In fact, here later, we're going to talk about this, I think, with another question, Tim. But in a Pac-Man cabinet, you typically have either a Wells Gardner K4600, K4900, or G07, right?
Right.
In fact, the K4900 is actually more rare than a 46 or a G07. In fact, we see more 46s and G07s than we do 49s.
Lots of G07s.
Right, exactly. So, if that's the case, like I said, Paul could easily hook you up. At the same time, if you let us know what your make and model is as well, we can probably help you out with whatever troubleshooting you need if you're up for that. Just depends on your skill level. Tim, anytime somebody says they got an arcade game for free and they haven't had a lot of experience, it's really up to you, Marcus, as to what your comfort level is with doing this kind of repair. If you're pretty well versed in electronics already, you may be fine, soldering some parts, caps, and transistors and things in place. But if not, then you may want to ship it off for repair. It just depends on you.
That's why we shot a lot of videos. You can go and watch and learn a lot.
Right. So you watch the troubleshooting game.
If you want to.
Right. You watch the troubleshooting games that are playing blind video, and if you feel like you're lost and can't do it, then you can definitely ship it off to a monitor repair technician. Removing the chassis is not that bad, and nowadays you can take a million pictures of it, Tim. Make sure you know where all the wires go, and be in good shape. But definitely want to take that option if you need it. It's there for you if you don't feel comfortable doing it yourself. Mark, anything else for Marcus here, Tim, before we move on?
No.
Okay,
I was just thinking how you're right. Today it's so easy with a cell phone or whatever. Yep. I remember when we first started, we had cameras, and we would take a camera, or a Polaroid or whatever, and try to look at it. But yeah, it's so easy with your camera and stuff today.
High resolution on most cell phone cameras, so you can easily take those pictures, get that flash.
I was trying to get the model number off of a Coke machine today. And I was like, I can't see back there. I was like, oh, wait. I just took my phone and took a picture of it, and there it was.
That's right. So there you go, guys. So Marcus, hopefully he answered your question, and good luck getting your free Pac-Man cabinet back up and running. And the fact that you're getting sound is a good indication that your board may be working. So that's something else we should say. So
yes.
There we go. Okay, Tim, we have a question in the live chat from Encore's Arcade. I asked for a back glass for my Amazing Spider-Man pinball, Tim. So there you go. Nice. Classic back glass, right? Amazing Spider-Man pinball. So there you go. Or maybe, I don't know. There's two Amazing Spider-Man. There's a classic version Amazing Spider-Man, right? And there's also the Stern newer style.
He's talking about the classic one, right?
I'd assume so. So let us know on Encore's Arcade which one you're asking for. I'd assume the classic, but you never know. Maybe somebody busted the one in your Stern and you need a replacement for that as well. So I would assume classic, Tim.
Okay.
So there we go. Are we all caught up? We haven't lost the live chat again, so hopefully everything's okay. So again, kind of fighting issues with that with YouTube tonight. So we'll just fight through it, Tim, as best we can. So let us continue on to our next question here from John, Tim. Finally, something a little different.
Okay.
I'll say that. Hi, I have a 1981 Defender arcade game, and I have recently started working on it. I have no experience at these things, but I'm a pretty handy person. I run through diagnostics, and I've isolated the RAM chip that has failed, and it seems to be running fine except for the monitor. It is showing 2 complete game screens compressed horizontally with about another half a screen on each side. I've tried adjusting the pots in the back, but I can't find one for horizontal centering. There's diagram in the back there for another set of pots, but they don't appear to be there. Any advice? Your videos have been extremely helpful. Thank you for that. So, Tim, we have John here. He's got a Defender. So, the very first thing he talks about is a RAM issue. That's what he's talking about here. It's like, oh, I had this RAM issue kind of thing. And so he talks about it. He thinks he's got that all solved, but now he's getting this kind of double image issue, which, again, different than playing blind. So we did have something a little different than the rest of the questions tonight, I will say. But overall, let's talk about this. What's causing the split screen? And maybe talk to us a little bit about RAM as well, since he threw that in his question.
Well, I'd fix the RAM right away. I'd do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be an easy fix.
Right.
And then for the double split screen, you probably are. Should be a breakout board or something. It could be missing.
Right.
Or that may not be the original board game in there.
Right.
And it could be on the wrong
original monitor.
The original monitor. It could be a medium res or something on the wrong resolution.
Yeah, that's possible too.
And so I don't know. It's a. We've got a lot of videos that would help him, but I would definitely look into adjusting the screen the best you can. But what we need, this would have been a great one for pictures.
Right.
We definitely need some pictures. If you could write us back, show us what you got, show us the monitors, take 4, 5, 6 pictures. And I think that we could help you. We're kind of missing a little bit of information here. If we knew what monitor, we might know which way to go. Or, like I said, it wouldn't surprise me if, even I know some operators have done this. Did you buy the game like that? Did it go like that? Sometimes the history guys really help us too. Because let's say you bought the game like that. Well, it could have been an operator that went, it's not working. If I throw a half working monitor in there, they'll at least buy it.
Right.
And it may be the wrong monitor for your game. Mm-hmm. We don't know. But a little bit more information, I think, would help them. But I would go ahead definitely and fix the RAM.
So, I mean, it sounds like he fixed the RAM.
Oh,
so
we're
going to, I mean, it sounds like that. And so now he's getting the double split screen like we're talking about. And Tim, there is actually a symptom with some Williams games, Defender in particular, where that can be caused by the video decoder board.
Okay.
And so I put that on here as well. But let's go ahead and look at the slide real quick. So on the RAM, I did want to talk about this. Ken Graham used to tell us that if you have a RAM issue on a Williams game, you just remove all the RAM chips, place them in a bowl, swirl them around, and reinstall.
Yep,
He used to say that, and it would probably start working again. So just something to keep in mind when you get bad RAM readings.
You don't necessarily have to go and get a new RAM just for that one chip. Try swapping them around.
Right. Now, if you have the RAM chips around, or if you've ordered a new set of RAM chips, put them in there by all means.
Right.
But Ken used to always say, just pull them all off there, throw them around in a bowl, put them all back, because they're all the same.
Yeah.
And then it'll work. He's like, there's just something about it. But anyway, as for the double split screen problem, so the other set of pots, like Tim mentioned, may be on a breakout board. So you may want to check either in the back of the cabinet or up front near the coin door. Sometimes they'll mount those breakout boards inside the coin door or close to it. And so there may be the other set of pots there. Now, like Tim mentioned, we don't know if that's the original monitor in there. Definitely could have been swapped out. With that said, you can also try pulling and cleaning the video decoder chips from the game. Okay, this is a known problem with Williams games. So there's ROM chips on there for the video decoding.
That's correct.
Clean those ROM chips and then reinstall them and see if it works. Tim, we have
seen that problem. I forgot about that.
I was about to say, and we have some schematics for Williams games, Defender in particular, on our website that Ken gave us a long time ago. If you search our website for Williams Repair, you'll probably find it. But there is a schematic, too, that will show you where those video decoder chips are if you need help recognizing them. Or if you want to send us a picture of your board, we can tell you where they are. But that may be what your problem is as well. And somebody posted a picture of what theirs was doing, and you can see it's pretty close to what yours is doing, where we get this we get the double screen. If you look at this bottom one here, the top one as well, you can see how the grid is kind of doubled over.
Yeah.
And so it could not, even though we may think of that more as a monitor issue, it may actually be a board issue.
Board, yeah.
Right, the video decoder chips. So you can try cleaning those ROMs, removing them, cleaning them, and reinstalling them, and see if that helps your issue as well. Tim, anything else for John before we move on?
No, I'm glad you mentioned that. It's been a long time, but I remember that now. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's another thing that you can do. So let's of course see if we can find those other pots. If you can't find the other pots, I wouldn't worry about it too much. Try the video decoder chips. Let's remove those ROM chips. reinstall them, see if that helps with our issue. If you need additional help, please let us know. Tim, anything else for John?
I don't think so.
Okay, well, we'll leave it there. Thank you, John, for your question, and good luck getting your Defender 100% up and running. The fact that you even got a screen now, it sounds like you didn't have one before you did the RAM chip replacement. That's good. You're moving in the right direction. So
I
just
could play
continue
that
way.
game with 4 screens and probably wouldn't be any better at it.
I am terrible at Defender
I'm
too.
horrible.
It's fun. It's just I've never been good at it.
Me either.
There are people who are excellent at it. I've seen
I
them.
like to watch people that are good play it.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I am not one of them.
Me either. But it is a fun game. I like Defender. I like Stargate. I like a lot of Williams games. I mean, Joust is probably by far my favorite. Though.
That's fine.
Bubbles is fine. I was trying. What else we got?
Sinistar is one
Sinistar,
of my
yeah, I was about to say Tim loves
That's probably my
Sinistar,
favorite.
and there's some great Sinistar.
Hunger.
So the thing about Sinistar is it's freaking hard.
Yeah.
That's the problem with Sinistar. It's freaking hard. So, but other than that, I do enjoy Sinistar, and the talking is awesome. So, and Ken is no longer with us. Ken was a great guy, Williams programmer. Worked at Williams for a while, and of course was one of the creators behind Mystic Marathon, which never got a full release, but is available to play at the Game Preserve, where he was one of the people who ran it there before he passed away. But I think about Ken a lot. Tim, he's a great guy.
Me too.
And all of the information that we lost when he passed is just amazing. He knew so much, and he shared a little bit with us, thankfully. But we're thinking about you, Ken, and hopefully Ken's family's doing well and everything like that. So. Okay, I'm coming back over to the live chat real quick here, Tim. We got Joe says, what email address should I use to send you pictures of an unidentified monitor so you can help me identify it? Questions@arcaderepairtips.com. Questions@arcaderepairtips.com. Best way to get a hold of us by far. Questions@arcaderepairtips.com. Did you know you can text us? You can at 972-827-8477 or 972-82 or AR tips, right? 8 AR tips. 972 the number 8 AR tips, if you want to remember that. That is our voicemail line, but we also can receive text there, Tim.
Okay.
Believe it or not. So 972 the number 8 AR is an arcade repair tips. And if you do that, then you can text your photos to us as well if you'd rather. So questions@arcaderepairtips.com or 972-827-8477. Is that me going too fast on the phone number?
No.
They always talk about how there's a phone number rhythm. Dot, 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 dot.
Okay,
right? Like,
right.
so, there's those people who will leave a phone number on your voicemail and be like, oh, no, it's 126 or whatever,
Yeah.
But phone number rhythm is important. So 972-827-8477. Is that it?
Yes.
Okay, there you go.
Better.
There you go. Okay, so you can send it there. So text, email, whatever you want. Current Phonograph. Defender was one of my favorite games. It's a fun game. I didn't say it wasn't fun. It's just,
I'm
when
just not very good.
When you suck at it, you suck
Yeah,
at it, right?
right.
I mean, it is what it is. So, but, sometimes you just have to... I have not sat and, watched a really great Defender player and kind of picked up the strategy. Kicks was like that for a long time. I really wasn't very interested in Kicks until we kind of figured out strategy. And we watched somebody who was good and figured out some strategy. Once you watch somebody who's good and you kind of start picking up on what they're doing, it makes a lot of difference in, the way you play and your enjoyment of the game for sure.
For sure.
So it's something to think about. But Defender's fun. Absolutely. Okay, Tim, let us move on to our next question. And unfortunately, this person did not leave their name, but they said they live in Florida. So we're going to call them Florida Man.
Okay.
Florida Man. Okay, no, not actual name.
Right.
But it's easy enough. I think everybody remembers Florida Man. So
Yeah,
there we
sure.
go. I have a cocktail arcade that the screen is suddenly not coming on. The buttons are still lighting up. The arcade was new when I bought it. There were extended periods of time it stayed on and was never turned off. Could this just be a blown fuse or do I need to replace the monitor? Just need some help troubleshooting. I live in Florida and can probably handle easier repairs. So Tim, we have Florida Man.
Okay.
Florida Man here. And very much sounds like a playing blind issue, right? I mean, it's like
Yeah, it does.
the buttons are still lighting up, which is interesting. So he bought it new. And the buttons are lighting up. So this has light up buttons on it. We know that. And so, Tim, with all that information that Florida Man gave us, what advice would you have for Florida Man?
Well, same stuff we've been saying. If it's playing blind, there probably is a monitor issue, and there's several things that it could be. It's all on our video called Troubleshooting Games That Are Playing Blind. So we won't go into detail with all those. What concerns me is he says that it stayed on for a long time. And we've had this debate before. When you get through watching TV at night, you turn your TV off.
Yep.
Go back to 1980. We turned our TVs off. We didn't leave them playing all the time. I do think that is not very good for your game. Everything needs a rest. Everything needs some downtime. So probably that it finally went out, and he needs to have it repaired now.
Right. So now he says it was new when he bought it.
Right.
Okay, so I mean, if it was new when you bought it and you bought it within the last 10 years, you probably have an LCD.
Yes, but he also didn't say when he bought it. So if it was less than a year old, it's probably under warranty.
Sure.
But if it's more than a year old, it's probably not under warranty.
Could be the same Prime Arcade issue or
probably
whatever.
Is an LED. Again, picture would have helped, but we will go back to this. Just because the lights are going on, though, that doesn't mean that his power supply is good.
Sure.
It may be lighting the 5 volts, but maybe not the 12 volts or something, or the board may not be working. So did he actually say that he could hear it playing?
He did not.
He just said the lights went on.
Right.
And that's a little bit different. When we say troubleshooting games are playing blind, it means you actually coin it up, you hear it, it's like you're playing, but you see nothing on the screen. So that would be my challenge to him. Is it actually playing blind? Or is it not the power supply not playing because it's not producing the power? So we always start at power. We want to make sure we're getting power to our monitor and that our voltages are good.
Absolutely. Tim, I'm going to go ahead and throw this up here because I think you covered most of it at this point. In your description, you mentioned that the buttons are lighting up. Does the game make any sound when you're trying to play a game? That's what Tim's talking about. If you do get sound, then yes, you do probably have a playing blind issue, which would indicate a monitor problem. If you do not get sound, then it's possible the game board may be having a problem.
Could be.
So just because your buttons are lighting up, like Tim mentioned, does not necessarily mean that the voltage getting to your game board is good. Check the voltage with a multimeter at the game board to ensure that the voltage is good. You can check the fuses in the cabinet and on the monitor chassis, but just kind of from what you're saying, we're kind of thinking monitor issue. But again, you really need to know that your board is working, right? That is the key. And so check the voltage at the board. Make sure that's good. Like Tim mentioned, just because we're getting voltage to the light up buttons doesn't necessarily mean that we're getting voltage to the board. Or it could just be that we're getting enough voltage to the light up buttons to light them, but not necessarily enough to power the board as well. You may need to tweak your 5-volt, your power supply up just a bit, depending. So
is this another AI picture?
Yes, absolutely, Tim.
What are they playing?
I don't know. I'm using AI pictures all over. I was just like, give me a whole bunch of people playing a cocktail cabinet. There we go.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, so, I mean, hey, it's cheaper than licensing.
They got a lot of joysticks and stuff going on in this game.
Absolutely, yes, for sure.
It looks like a control panel we would have built, though.
For sure. It sounds good. So, Florida man, quote, unquote, hopefully answers your question. And let us know what you find out about your board. If your board is working, then we can probably help you out with the monitor issue as well. Just give us an update when you get a chance, and we'll go from there. Did you have anything else, Tim? I forgot to mention.
No,
pretty much covered it.
It's always fun if you just Google Florida man, see what comes up after.
Absolutely. So there you go. Hey, he was in Florida, and I mean, it is what it is. So. But there you go. Razor Show says knowing the game board and TV type would help. Need to know the connection type. Could be anything in there. That is true. It could be a Raspberry Pi, like Razor Show mentioned. Could be a 60-in-1. Could be a 412-in-1. Could be a Pandora's box. Could be a King of Air or whatever else. I mean, one of those wonderful multicade boards. Could be a full-blown PC, for all we know.
Right.
So, but a lot of different options there. So just let us know what you find and give us an update whenever you get a chance. Excuse me. If you need additional help. Yeah. That's how you know it's live, Tim.
Right.
There you go. When you have, we don't edit out the sneezes, so.
Clean that screen up.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, where I sneezed on the screen there for sure. Okay. Well, Tim, the live chat seems to be working so far. We're still in there.
Good.
So hopefully everything's going okay. So if you guys are in the chat, hopefully you're able to say things. So again, Tim, I will remind people, whatever you're asking for Christmas, we'd like to know that. Whatever you want Santa to bring you. And if you're still rocking incandescent light bulbs for your Christmas lights instead of LEDs, we'd like to know that as well. So please leave. Please leave your responses to those in the live chat, and we'll just kind of talk about them as we continue on through the questions. And I think this may be the last of the regular questions, Tim, for this one. So I'll go ahead and put it up here. But this one, this next question is from Larry, Tim. My Tabletop Pac-Man will power on with sound, but the screen is black.
Okay.
It's done this before, and I usually power it off and on a few times and eventually get a screen. I haven't had it on for a couple of years, and it won't get a screen. Help, please. So, Tim, I didn't actually hear back from Larry after I said that we were going to be covering this, and I'll tell you what happened with him here in a bit. But Tim, on Larry's question, this may be more very classic playing blind, correct?
Right.
So, what advice can you give to Larry here on his Tabletop Pac-Man?
Well, what's interesting is, and I've seen games like this, it wouldn't work. You turn it off, turn it back on, all of a sudden it'll work.
Yep.
And play great, and then the next time you go, it wouldn't work. a lot of times, this is what we talk about this a lot in our videos with Michael. First thing he would do is go around and touch up all those solder joints. This could be something that simple. Or it could just be indicated that it was going out, it's trying. It's kind of like a starter on a car or something. Eventually, it just won't start at all.
Right.
So I would definitely put a cap kit and reflow the solder and go from there.
Okay. So, I mean, and Tim, reflowing the solder is very important. I remember on the Gyrus I used to have, the monitor stopped working. And it turned out there was a cold solder joint on the high voltage line that caused the entire issue. It was a G07 monitor in it. And so refreshing the solder points is one of the first things you need to do whenever you have these kind of in and out type things where a monitor comes on, monitor doesn't come on. I will also say, though, at the Blitz Showtime that I have, that cabinet, when we got it, was doing the same thing, and it was a power supply.
Exactly.
So sometimes power supply can cause that as well. So it just depends. But I think for the most part, touching up solder, never a bad idea on a monitor, especially if we're talking about an original cocktail Pac-Man. Who knows the last time when somebody actually did any work on that monitor. Probably a great idea to just go ahead and pull it out of there, do some work on it, and at least see if that helps the issue at all. So, Tim, I'm going to go ahead and throw this up here real quick. So, like we've discussed in some previous questions tonight, Tim, this sounds like a classic case of playing blind. Since the monitor will come on from time to time, we would recommend removing the chassis and touching up any cold, cracked, and or broken solder joints to see if it fixes the issue. While you have the chassis out of your cabinet, you might consider installing a cap kit, especially if it's been a while since one has been installed. See our post video on installing a cap kit for more info on this process. Let us know if you need help identifying your monitor. Now, Tim, I put pictures this time of what a G07 looks like and what a K4600 looks like.
Right. So one of our guys was asking earlier, does either of your monitor look like that too?
That's
so
right. Exactly.
There's two good choices.
Right. The K4600 is pretty unmistakable. Is that a good way to say it?
Has that bar across
it has the black
middle?
bar that holds in the two cards.
Yeah.
It has two cards. It has the vertical horizontal card and I forget what the other card. The input card, right?
Yeah.
The input card and the vertical horizontal.
Well, one's like an
HV
X
card.
and Y card, and
Right. I think it's but the other one has a monitor input on it. Like one has a monitor input, one is the horizontal vertical. So those two cards, but if you see a black bar with two cards, you can almost guarantee that you've got a K4600 in there. Electro Home G07s, of course, super common, and so you can. Those are pretty easy to see.
I would see that heat sink right in the middle. It's kind of S-shaped.
Right.
You can see it there, right in the middle of the chassis.
Right. It's pretty common. I mean, like I said, if you see an Electro Home, it's pretty easily identifiable. The 4900, Tim, is also, I didn't put that one on here, but it's pretty identifiable as well if you see it. None of the parts are really in the same spot on any of the three of these chassis. And these are the three most common chassis we see in Pac-Man cabinets. And so, like I said, the 4900 is actually more rare in Pac-Mans. We see more G07s than K4600s than anything. So, but I heard from Larry, and Larry actually said that it's working now. He didn't do anything, but it seems to be consistent. And I would tell Larry, you may still want to touch up the solder and make sure all your connections
I think so.
So, I mean, because it does sound like there's a short somewhere.
Right.
So, where's the short?
And, it could just be something simple, too, as your kill switch or something, a door not shut good.
That's true, too.
Some of that stuff will cause some crazy stuff like that.
Yeah, those kill switches will sometimes, over time, they keep hitting, they'll loosen.
Yeah.
And once they get loose, sometimes they don't depress all the way in.
Right, or the wood gets a little warped or whatever. It just, can't tell you how many we've just screwed an extra screw in and fixed it.
Yep. So, but definitely want to check that as well. But I think for the most part, that should give Larry some great places to start. Like I said, he emailed back and said everything's working now.
Hey, thank you, Larry.
I was about to say good for that, but like I said, just because everything's working out doesn't mean it'll continue to work. Right. So you may want to go ahead and take some precautions and think about
ain't broke, leave it alone.
That's true, exactly. If as long as it's working, it's working. But just keep in mind that you may be heading down the road to some problems. So and hopefully the things that we talked about tonight will help you. And please let us know if you need additional help. We'll try to help you out further. So. Well, Tim, we are to the quick question and answer section of the show tonight. And I feel like we kind of plowed through everything.
Well, a lot of them were similar.
Yeah. Well, I was about to say, a lot of playing blind, right?
Yeah.
Like a ton of it. So, and I mean, it's the questions we get. I don't, it's like we don't control the questions. So, it just seems to be a common issue this month. So
there we go.
There you go. But, yes, in the bleak dark screen, Tim, as the episode says. So, but yeah, and again, some of these playing blind, I think we talked about when Tim mentioned this is very important. If you don't hear the game, you may not be playing blind.
Right.
It may be a game board issue, okay?
And you'll have to coin it up, start it, or do something to hear that.
Right, exactly. So you can coin it up, you can hit the start button. If it's on free play, just hit the start button. You should hear sound. And if you don't hear any sound, game board issue is probably more likely at that point. Or power supply, something to that effect. So you want to start checking voltages to make sure everything's good. So, but pretty much everything was playing blind for the main questions except for the Defender questions. So
I think so.
There you go. Anyway. But now we are to the quick question and answer section. And this is where we take some shorter questions, not as long as some of the ones we've already covered, and we rapid fire those to Tim, and Tim rapid fires answers back to us to those questions. And this month we have just some kind of generic. There may be, actually I don't think there are any playing blind ones in this. So,
okay.
we already went through all the playing blinds, so this is a little bit different. But I will rapid fire these questions to Tim, and Tim will give us back 3 quick answers. So without further ado, let us do it right now. So the first question is from Christopher. Can you fix a hard drive and PCB? Those old Atari boards are pretty tricky. Thanks. So he wants to know if we can do the repair on that. Julio says, I just got my K7000 chassis repaired. I connected it back up, but it makes a weird sound and shows squiggly lines on the screen. Can you tell me if I just need to adjust it? Is my tube bad or is it something else? And then AttractionSpot says, how do I replace a potentiometer if one is broken? So again, Christopher, can you fix a hard drive and PCB? Julio, I just got my K7000 repaired and it's not acting right. And AttractionSpot, how do I replace a potentiometer if one is broken? So Tim, with all those questions in mind, let's take Christopher's first. Do we do repairs on hard drive and PCBs?
No.
No, who can he go to?
He's going to go to our repair page and look at some of those people and email them. I'm not sure who's kind of an expert in that board area.
I would, so resources page is what Tim's talking about, arcaderepairtips.com/resources. And Speedy's, one-stop repair service may be the best option for you there. So you'll see him on that list. Check it out. Julio's question about the K7000. Now he got it repaired and now it's not working, Tim. What's going on?
Yeah, that's pretty frustrating, but it's happened to us.
Yes, it has.
So double check your hookups and make sure you didn't get something backwards or wired up. I would also contact who you fixed the game, who fixed it for you. Send them a picture. Tell them what's going on. Show them your wiring and everything. I bet it's something simple like that. Or your monitor, you have more than just a monitor issue. Is everything else going okay with your game? Is your powers right and all that stuff? So I don't know if that helps a ton, but something of, when you're saying squiggly lines and stuff, a lot of times that's more of a interference type grounding issue, things like that. So maybe you need to look into your grounds and make sure that everything's grounded correctly. Send us a picture. Maybe that would help us too. But I would for sure contact whoever you just sold it to you. But I can't tell you, several times I've got some in and it really took some tweaking to get them to work again. Even though I was confident that it was repaired and fixed, it's just their setup and your setup's probably different. It just takes a little bit sometimes to get everything worked out, and sometimes you never do.
Absolutely. AttractionSpot, Tim, last one. How do I change out that bad potentiometer, Tim?
Well, you desolder the old one and desolder the back and put an original in there if you can find it.
Yeah.
It's a soldering deal that you most of the time. And depends on the pot. If we're talking about one that's on the board, some of them are real surface mounted. You just unsolder them, pull them off, put another one on. Some of them are more like a volume pot where you have a couple wires soldered on there. You would just, and maybe they have a nut that you take off. You put that on there, put the nut back on, and make sure you put the right wire where it goes.
Right.
Depends. Kind of depends on the pot. There's a lot of different pots.
Absolutely. So, Tim, let me go ahead and put this up here. I think you covered everything real quick. So, Christopher, check out the links under the PCB repair and component sales heading on our resources page for a list of game board repair technicians. Again, that's at arcaderepairtips.com/resources. So, go there and you will be able to see a list of all the game board repair technicians we have. But you may try Speedy's one-stop repair service. They're pretty good. Tim, I was trying to think of some of the other ones that may be good for a hard drive in. El Dorado would do it, but they're expensive. Speedy's isn't going to be cheap either. But again, these are all, look, you're getting a board repaired.
It's all relative to prices of everything these days have gone up. And their components and parts are harder to find.
For sure. Julio, make sure that you hooked everything back up correctly. Might also contact the repair technician who repaired it to see if they can give you any insight. See our post on replacing an arcade monitor. And Tim, the only thing I would say is that whenever we put it back in, make sure that you line up the pins on the neck board really well. And I know they're usually keyed, but even though they're keyed, when you remove a neck board, sometimes the pins will bend. Yeah. They'll bend out of place, and you'll have to put them back into place before you put the neck board back on. If you didn't do that, you have issues. And same with the what do you call it? The input wiring. Yeah. Make sure that the input wiring is back correctly as well, that you have the sync wires hooked where the sync wires need to go and all that kind of stuff, because that could also cause issues.
Even the anode on your flyback.
Absolutely.
In there really good.
Make sure it's clipped in there really well and everything like that. Those are just some things that we can tell you. Of course, the yoke wires, Tim, are keyed typically, but sometimes people will break the yoke wires so they can invert the screen or whatever, and so just make sure the yoke wires are in the right positions as well. AttractionSpot, just need to purchase a replacement potentiometer. So with the same value, and then desolder the original pot and solder the new pot in. And if it's on the board, typically like it's 3 solder points, so you'll have to desolder, resolder. Yeah, Tim mentioned it could be, if it's in a wiring scheme like a volume pot, you just need to make sure that you wire those back up originally like they were intended. On the PCB repair, Encore's Arcade says Arcade Services in Indiana, which we've also heard of. I think we have as available on there, so Arcade Services may be a good place to send your PCB as well, Christopher. Tim, anything else on any of these questions before we move on?
I don't think so.
Sounds good. Well, Christopher, Julio, AttractionSpot, hopefully that answers your questions, and let us know if you need any additional help on any of these issues, and we'll try to help you out further. And speaking of further, Tim, without any further ado, it's Christmas!
Yay!
So you know what that means?
Christmas.
Gift exchange!
Sure.
Okay, so I've got a present for you.
Okay.
And it looks like you got a present for me.
I do.
So, this is yours.
Okay.
I did Grogu.
My present.
And I don't know which one of these is which, so I'll let you.
Okay, it's just the bag holding them.
Okay.
There's two.
Okay.
So grab that one and then
double your fun here.
3.
Oh, there's 3. Oh my goodness.
There is 3. 2 of them kind of go together.
Okay. Well, there's more than one present in your box, but I like to do the one box.
Right.
My family and I, we've gone to doing one, even if you buy multiple presents, we've gone to doing one box, because if everybody got multiple boxes, it would just take forever. Mm-hmm. So I've just gotten in the habit of wrapping everything in one.
Just do it all at once.
Exactly, just one box for everything. So, but anyway, so who should open first?
Well, why don't you open one since you got 3 to open.
Oh, this one's heavy. Let me see. Oh, yeah. So I mentioned to Tim that I'm reading, I really enjoy Brant Hansen. Yeah. He's an author. So he got me The Men We Need. And I've heard this book is really good. So I'm looking forward to reading that. If you Brant Hansen is a great writer, Christian writer, Tim, if you guys are interested in him. But he's quirky. He has Asperger's. And so his eyes also have a condition where they move back and forth constantly. It's crazy. So great book. Thank you, sir.
Well, I'm going to start opening mine then.
Yeah, go for it. Or you can open it and pull each one out as you do it. Like I said, there are 3 in there.
We'll do that.
It's open on mine.
Oh, okay, good. You didn't tape it up where
No. This is I TV wrap, right?
All right,
TV wrap.
I want to pull out the first one.
Okay, the first one. There we go.
Feels like a shirt.
Of course.
A t-shirt. And I'll tell you what, we'll set that right there. And this t-shirt is an arcade shirt, of course. I think you guys will like this. Keeping it old school.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's how we keep it around here.
That's me.
We keep it old school, right?
Your turn again.
Okay, here we go. Okay. Ooh, got Santa bag. Let's see what I got here. Oh, I got a shirt too?
Yeah, you got a shirt.
I think you'll put this down here.
I saw this shirt just said you on it.
Oh, okay. God, family baseball. That's about right. Yeah, we need some arcade on there too. Some video games or something like that. But absolutely, sir. Thank you very much. I love it.
All
okay, pull something else out of the box.
Digging in again.
Oh.
This is something I think that I
now that
mentioned.
was that was something you sent me that you wanted, and we always do flashlights. People know this, okay? So that was one that you said that you wanted, and I think it's a 2-pack.
Yeah,
you get 2 in there.
Well, to give you an idea, I lost one kind of like this. This is what I'm carrying in my pocket.
Oh my goodness!
And it keeps coming on. So these are 2 in here, right?
Right.
And this is how big this one is. It's too big.
Right.
I need something really small when I am inspecting. So thank you very much.
There we go. Right. Okay, going for the last one. Going in. Oh, very nice. A wireless charging station, Texas Rangers. Hey, I know we didn't win the World Series again, Tim, but I'm still a fan.
You're still a fan?
I'm still celebrating from 2023. I will celebrate for the rest of my life. I was alive for the World Series, and we won it.
And it charges earbuds, all kinds of stuff, too.
Awesome.
So
I love wireless chargers. If you guys don't use wireless chargers, you're missing out. It's the best way to charge your phone.
Right.
I know
and
it's slow.
This one's got the Rangers on it.
Absolutely. So. I know it's slow to charge, but it doesn't wear out
Well, this has a 10-watt fast charge.
Oh, nice.
I don't know how fast, but that sounds pretty fast.
Well, what ends up happening thing is if you unplug and plug your phone in a lot, you wear out the slot. Have you ever noticed that?
Yes.
Like the little charging port? And wireless charging doesn't do that. Highly recommend it. Right. Okay. Now, you have another gift besides the last one in there, but you can pull that one out.
Okay.
And I think you already got the email. Did you get an email?
I did not get an email that I know of.
So, those of you guys who don't know, Tim's going to be a grandpa real soon.
Oh, okay.
And so I got something you can read to your grandchild.
Yes, we got a book.
That's right. Keep calm and nom nom nom. There we go.
Oh, what a great gift.
So it is a children's Pac-Man book. And so I saw it and I'm like, well, I got to get that for Tim. So there you go.
We're going to eat ghosts for breakfast.
Yes. You can read a little bit of it here, just a little bit. I mean, it's pretty. I thought it was hilarious. So.
Those scary ghosts will be the ones on the run.
That's right.
Okay. So what a great gift. I thought about it for a second, and then when you said that, it dawned on me. So yes, and I will definitely like to read to Miss Holly.
So you actually got another gift, and you should have got an email, but I guess you didn't.
It's probably in my emails.
Okay, I was about to say.
Haven't looked at it
so
yet.
you guys know that Tim collects baseball cards, and I asked him if you're still collecting.
I do.
You said yes, and you collect all cards, but you collect baseball cards. So I got you a 1-year subscription to Beckett Baseball.
Oh, how cool!
Because when I was a kid, Beckett was what we did,
and you can't buy them anywhere.
No, you
local.
can't.
You can't go down to a magazine place or Books A Million and get them.
No, you can't get them anymore. Like the places don't carry they only carry like certain ones, and they may only carry like 1 month here and 1 month there. They don't carry all of them. So for the next 12 months, you will be enjoying, my friend, Beckett Baseball in your mailbox.
Thank you.
Which is always, I mean, it's just something, Tim. I can't tell you how many memories I have of going to the store, picking up my Beckett, looking at my cards, and I know now we can do that all digital. But there's articles in there, too. They do some articles about, like, what's hot, what's not, things like that. So there's a little bit of analysis that goes on with that. So you have a subscription to Beckett Monthly that's coming, Beckett Baseball Monthly.
Thank you. And I can remember getting the Michael Jordan issue, and I put it in a sleeve, and I still have it. It's never been opened.
So now they do Beckett. It's all different sports. They have one for every sport. So I'm like, I don't know if they get the baseball, the basketball, or the football. I'm like, I'm going to get the baseball because I think he has more baseball cards than anything. So I was like, we're definitely going to do that. So so on top of the 3 gifts that you got, you'll also be getting a subscription to Beckett Monthly.
Well, thank you. It's probably in my email.
I was about to say, go through. So this is what Tim got, and I unfortunately did not put the links below in the show notes.
Oh, well, there you go.
Guys, things have been crazy around here. But you guys can go to those links, and I will put them in the show notes later. But Tim got the Keeping It Old School Arcade Gaming t-shirt. He also got the Pac-Man Keep Calm and Nom 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 book, which if you've got young kids and you want them to get interested in Pac-Man and stuff, that's cool. To do it. And then the Gear Light S100 LED pocket pen light, which Tim uses for work and says is fantastic. So again, we do get a residual from these. So we do. If you guys buy through.
The flashlight would be really good at working on games too, because it has about a spread probably about 5 or 6 inches, not like huge.
Right.
So it's more like a spotlight.
Gotcha.
And that's what I like it. Because sometimes you get a flashlight and it's just light.
Right.
And that's okay if you're just walking in the dark. But when I want to look at something in particular, that's why I like these, and they're really good. They're a good deal.
Merry Christmas, Tim.
Tthink you. Merry Christmas, buddy.
So here we go.
Appreciate you, buddy.
There we go.
Okay. Always.
So there we go.
We've done this a long time.
We
haven't
have. Golly, we're still doing Christmas presents. We've golly, I don't even know how. So we're at 94 episodes. We've done what, 5 years worth of something like that. 5 years worth of live shows. More than that.
Yeah.
5 years would be 60 episodes.
Almost
right?
100.
So yeah, we're almost at 100. So 7 years of live show episodes, something like that. So so we've been exchanging the Christmas gifts every year since.
Almost 7 years.
But yeah, Tim. So you got a grandchild on the way.
Yep.
So which is exciting. That's going to be new in 2025.
It's going to be interesting too. Because you never know. Like they may be, like we were talking about your kids earlier, how they rather watch wrestling than basketball.
Yep.
And she may be the opposite. She may not care anything about any sport, or she may love sports. So you never know. You take what you can get.
Absolutely.
Love them anyway, and whatever they're into is what I'll be into.
Exactly. So it is what it is.
But I'm hoping she comes over to Pops and plays his arcade. So.
Absolutely. So we got to get that going for sure. Dragon Punch Dave says, hi everyone, sorry I'm late and Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you and Merry Christmas to all those who are watching right now, and we hope that you have a great one. If you're watching this before the fact, like I said, we celebrate now because December is so busy for me and Tim. Tim's going out of town again. You've been out of town, you're going back out of town.
Two more weeks out of town, and then I'll be off for the rest of the year. So
so it's like the only time I get to see Tim, I feel like, is like for the live show. We've been so busy. But yeah, hopefully we can clean out the storage building at some point. That's what we need
That's
to do.
the goal. That is the goal.
sure.
In fact, my friend Mike said he would volunteer on one of our holidays while we're off to come over. He wants me to help him some with his pinball.
Oh, gotcha.
And then he said he would be willing to come and help look into storage. So if nothing else, if we could get from 2 to 1, that would be an accomplishment.
Absolutely. So that's what we're looking into. Well, Tim, enough of the Christmas gifts and everything like that. Let us finish up with some news and discussion. So, Tim, I do want to talk about some Black Friday and Cyber Monday deals that were going on. We had this...
some good deals.
Yeah, we had the MVS Mini with the kind of the all-in bundle there. I think it was around $70. The big one, Tim, I felt like was the Atari VCS all-in bundle for $80. And that was a big deal. It just seemed like that was a great deal. Atari is basically clearancing these things out. It doesn't look like they're going to sell them anymore.
Right.
And so it was an opportunity for some guys to pick it up. I was very close to picking it up, but just couldn't bring myself to do it. So... But it was a heck of a deal. Hopefully some of you guys got in on it and were able to pick it up. And Tim, I know some retailers and things are still holding stock, so I wouldn't be surprised if we see another clearance out before the end of the year or after Christmas. So if you're looking forward to that, then if you missed out on that, you may have another opportunity to get the Atari VCS. And that VCS, Tim, is of course the one that Atari recently released.
Yes.
That was really popular. It makes for a really great home theater PC, but I think that Atari's basically dumping it and discontinuing it.
I think so. Yeah.
So, but it's a great opportunity to have something that, at least you can load maybe some emulators on, play some games, have some fun with. There are a lot of Pac-Man deals. Of course, Tim, you got the Pac-Man book, but there are other Pac-Man deals as well, including like a plush little Pac-Man for $20. There's the Corridor Pac-Man game, which is really neat if you never played that, and some other deals as well. And of course, they brought back the $23.59 Gombus clone video converter board, Tim,
nice.
Which is very popular as well. So, there weren't as many as what we had for like Prime Days as far as arcade related stuff goes. But I think as we get closer to Christmas, we may have more of that. So stay tuned to our social media feeds, and we'll be posting those deals as they come along. And hopefully, I've already got a lot of my Christmas shopping done. I am not done, but I'm getting there.
Okay.
I'm probably a 60 to 70% done at this point. So looking forward to getting the rest of it done though. So hopefully the same can be said about you. Tim, it just looked like we lost the chat and it's back. So we had another little flake out there. Sorry about that, guys. But Current Phonograph says, congratulations, Tim, on being a grandfather.
Oh, thank you.
There you go.
Looking forward to it.
So let us continue on. I think we're caught up on the live chat, Tim. So we have this next one. Here's some of the stories that we had.
Okay.
This next one was about somebody who basically made a board to help him replicate sounds on an old 80s arcade sound chip.
Yep.
Okay, so the title of the headline from PC Gamer says, listen to an old 80s arcade sound chip replicating the sound of birds, a whistle, and even a jackhammer. So this YouTuber, Tim, recently uploaded a video of the AY3-8910 sound chip. Now, for those of you guys who aren't familiar with this chip was used in Burger Time, Gyrus, Spy Hunter, and a slew of arcade games, Tim.
Okay.
And even console games, like consoles, video game consoles as well.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of using it for video games, though, this YouTuber tries to turn real-life recordings into digital sounds, and it's super fascinating. So if you haven't given this YouTube video a watch, we would highly recommend it. I think he does a really great job of kind of replicating some of these sounds with just this old 80s tech.
That's pretty cool.
And it sounds pretty close. It's amazing. So, a really cool setup there. He does some really great stuff. You should check it out if you haven't already. So, and that little programmable sound generator board, I think he said he may try to sell that at some point if you're interested in trying to do the same kind of thing.
Nice.
So, our next story here, Tim, is about the Evil Dead pinball machine that was revealed by Spooky Pinball. Now, unfortunately, I forgot to post this on our social media pages. Usually our friend Mark is really good about doing that, but both of us kind of dropped the ball on this, so I'm sorry about that. But Spooky Pinball has unveiled their latest game, Evil Dead, based on the first two movies of the iconic franchise. The game features a wide-body playfield, custom callouts by Bruce Campbell, and is packed with original clips, speech, and sound effects from the films. And we should say only the first two movies. That's important. Okay. The collector's edition, which is the only version of the game, is limited to 888 units and is priced at $9,999. An additional animated topper is available for $1,399.
Wow.
So all-in price would be pretty darn close to, $10,400?
Yeah.
$11,400. $11,400 if you want to get the topper and the pinball machine itself. Tim, there are Evil Dead fans that I know who would definitely drop that kind of cash on this because there are people who absolutely love that movie. I actually like it. I'm a big Bruce Campbell fan. Okay, it's not my favorite movie. But it's really good. It's worth your watch if you've never seen the Evil Dead movies before. But I will say this pinball machine looks amazing. So good work by Spooky here, Tim. And I'm sure they will, if they have not sold out of those 888 units already, I'm sure they will be gone soon.
Nice.
So, Tim, are you a big Evil Dead fan? Or
No.
No, not really?
Never seen it.
Oh, there you go. You should watch it.
Okay.
It's good.
I'll put it on my watch list.
Like it's a good Halloween kind of movie, whatever. So. Now this is the big story, Tim. The big story of the month, okay? And we had an update on the big story of the month, but it happened just within the last couple of days, actually over the Thanksgiving holiday. But thieves ransacked San Bernardino arcade, stay for days through Thanksgiving. And Tim, this is from Yahoo News, which is actually kind of re-reporting what a local news station did. So, Extraordinaire Arcade. Okay, is what we're talking about. It was ransacked by thieves over the Thanksgiving holiday. Will Luna, the owner, estimates the cost in stolen goods and damages to be around $12,000. The thieves stole a PlayStation consoles, a popcorn machine, cameras, a DVR system, televisions, the cash register, and a debit card reader, and an X-Men arcade game, among other items. Luna shared his frustration on Instagram, stating, "They took a full-size game right out the door. I have pictures and video of them dragging it out." Tim, so I saw the story and man, my heart just goes out to him.
Yeah.
So apparently, to give you a little bit more information, we've known a little bit more, and I'm going to do the update here in a second. Apparently a homeless woman hid in his attic while, during business hours, and then
when they were closed,
she came down and they busted everything open and took a ton of stuff.
Wow.
So, and then, apparently there are homeless encampments really close to this arcade. And so a lot of his stuff ended up in these homeless encampments.
I see.
Okay.
So it wasn't hard to find.
Right. So here's the update.
Okay.
California arcade owner storms homeless camps to grab back stolen X-Men machine, other loot after cops tell him their hands are tied.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so the owner of Extraordinaire Arcade, Will Luna, raided nearby homeless camps looking for his stolen items after the cops told him their hands were tied.
Wow.
Luna found gaming accessories, circuit boards from the machines, and even a cache of stolen snacks as he Hulk smashed the first tent village and continued his rampage at another camp across the street. This is from the article, okay? I'm quoting the article.
Hulk smash.
Right, and actually, that's not the right URL. It's from the New York Post. I need to fix that. But unfortunately, he did not find his most valuable equipment. He did not find the PlayStation 5s and Switch consoles, and he did not find his X-Men arcade machine. But here is the picture, Tim, that I've got here on the slide, showing somebody dolling it out of his establishment. Dude, we feel for you, buddy.
Right.
I don't know if I would have gone all Hulk smashing like you did through the homeless encampments, but I understand the frustration for sure. And man, this is a tough story, Tim.
Yeah, somebody knows, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's just we never want to see this happen to anybody, Tim. You know what I'm saying? It's just So
if you're looking on Facebook Marketplace and you see a X-Men arcade kind of sketchy, make sure and turn it in.
Absolutely. Tim, the amount of damage, California, their laws are pretty lenient on damage and stolen goods. It has to be over a certain amount or the cops won't even come. And I think that's what happened is that $12,000 that he's claiming in damages just wasn't enough for them to really spend their time with it. And so he tried to take matters into his own hands, which, is never a good idea in my opinion. I'm not a vigilante, Tim, so I'm not the guy who's going to take matters into his own hands. I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. But I just never think that's a great solution.
It's pretty upsetting, though.
Right, absolutely. Now, that being said, if, when your house is broken into or whatever, it can be you feel violated and maybe he felt like he needed to do something about that. I understand, but, it just... I don't know. I think what I would do is I would probably close down and find another spot to move my arcade to.
I would think so too.
And just be like, I'm going to cut my losses here. Hopefully you have insurance. So they're going to cover, they'll cover all that. I know you'll probably have a deductible or whatever, but they'll cover a lot of that. But overall, just a sad story, really. I never want to see an arcade get busted into and get busted up, obviously, Tim. So, and especially an arcade.
You might know if they didn't steal a pinball game.
Oh yeah,
so
they're
maybe it's a good investment in pinball because they're too heavy to carry out,
right?
But the X-Men was not light either.
No, exactly. So
somebody knew what they were getting, right?
Right. A couple of quotes here. Current phonograph, that's California now, out of control with crime. Well, and I mean, it really is a philosophy, Tim. If there's no incentive for the cops to go after them, if the law doesn't permit them to go after them, they're not going to go after them.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's all it is. Bobby Broadway, bums around me were throwing bags of full used needles over our fence for our dogs. That's when I stopped being nice. Oh my goodness, that's terrible. Yeah, so just, I mean, golly, guys, we've got, there's crime and things like that. And, if you're in an area where, you call the cops and they're not coming, it's probably a good idea not to be in that area anymore.
Right.
That's just my philosophy. So, but he did have the security cameras, Tim, and they did show the break-in. I think he may have been out of town, though. He couldn't stop them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the thing. People are breaking in. The cops ain't coming. They know the cops aren't coming. And they can just take whatever they want, basically, and then you're just out. So.
And check your attic.
Absolutely. So, Paul Dre's here, Tim.
Hey, Paul.
So there we go. But anyway, yeah, so just a sad story about an arcade getting broken into, Tim. I never liked those kind of stories, for sure. So,
well, we got a lot of business coming your way this month.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully
Yeah,
not.
exactly. A lot of playing blind, Paul, so you may be getting some calls there. But anyway, guys, I think that about wraps it up for the regular show here. So, Bobby says, dust off the old Death Wish Betamax. There you go. I think he was talking about, what were we talking about earlier? Evil Dead, right?
Evil Dead,
There you go. So, anyway, guys. Well, let us go ahead and wrap it up. Oh, I do have some housekeeping, Tim.
Okay.
So, how long ago was that? Was that 2 months ago? Was it last month?
A couple.
It was October?
Yeah,
October.
probably.
So the October show, we said that we would donate everything that was given during the live show, that we were going to donate to Hurricane Helene relief.
Right.
Well, as of today, we have done exactly what we said. So I do want to throw this up here, Tim. So we made our $210 donation today to Samaritan's Purse for Hurricane Helene relief. And so, and it says Dear Arcade Repair Tips. I put the little email there so you guys could see it. Now, Tim, we should mention that $210 was donated, but we only get 40% of that because YouTube takes its cut.
Wow.
But we did have some money that we used to make up the difference.
Okay.
And so in the Arcade Repair Tips Fund. Because I did want to make the actual $210 donation. Yeah, YouTube takes a 40% cut of anything you guys use in Super Chat. You may not realize that. So when you hit that little button with the $sign on it, you donate $10, we see $6.
Wow.
Okay, so
That's pretty deep.
Yeah, so $210, we really only saw about 120 of that. Is that right? Something like that. Because 60 and 60, something like that.
Yeah.
120, a little bit over 120. 122, something like that. 124.
Wow.
But yeah, but we made up the difference with our funds from Arcade Repair Tips and made the full $210 donation to Samaritan's Purse. So so that's what we did.
And it takes a little time to get the money in our funds.
Right, exactly,
from YouTube.
yeah, exactly. So we have to hit certain thresholds in order to get that money, and so it took a while. And so last month we hadn't hit that threshold yet, and they still haven't given us the money. But me and Tim, we discussed it today, decided who we wanted to give to, and Samaritan's Purse, since they're kind of located in that area anyway. Mm-hmm. And those of you guys who are not familiar with Samaritan's Purse, that is Franklin Graham's charity. And of course, Franklin Graham, the son of the late great Billy Graham, who was probably one of the best known evangelists in the world. So, I think that money is specifically designated for disaster relief. So hopefully that will go to people who really need it. So, but I want to be transparent about these things, Tim. If we raise money for something, I want to show you guys that we actually did what we were going to say we did. So today we did just that. We made that donation, and hopefully that goes to help anybody else who's in need during Hurricane Helene who suffered, because it's going to take them forever to recover from that, years to get there. So hopefully that $210 will be well spent and go to helping some people who really need it. So now, Tim, let's go ahead and wrap it up real quick with our usual wrap up here. Of course, we want to remind everybody that we want your arcade-related videos. If you want some free advertising for your YouTube channel, we're always looking for people to submit short videos around 10 minutes or less about arcade-related topics. Send a link of your video to questions@arcaderepairtips.com, and our staff will review it. If we like it, we'll use it during one of our live show episodes. Make sure you put a plug-in for your channel so people will know where to find you. And we always look forward to seeing your submissions. Tim, we haven't had a whole lot of new submissions lately, but maybe at some point we will. So if you have a YouTube channel, you talk about arcade related stuff, go ahead and send us over a video, and we can always put a plug maybe at the beginning of the live show or something for you. So and Tim, we really started doing that because we wanted to help those people who maybe had a little trouble getting over that monetization threshold on YouTube. So if you're near that but you're just not quite there, that's definitely the kind of people we want hitting us up. So send us an email, let us know, and if we like it, like I said, we can use it here on the live show and give you a little bit of a push. So. And then, Tim, we also have our contact information. We have our general email, questions@arcaderepairtips.com, questions@arcaderepairtips.com. If you put live show in the subject, it will get mentioned on the show. Otherwise, we'll kind of answer it whenever we get around to it. But that is definitely one of the best ways to get to us. That's questions@arcaderepairtips.com, questions@arcaderepairtips.com. Earlier in the show, Tim, I mentioned our phone number, which is really for voicemail, but you can also text. And I will say that again, even though it's not on the slide. You can text us or leave a voicemail at 972-827-8477 or 972, the number 8. AR Tips is an Arcade Repair Tips. Again, 972, the number 8. AR Tips. If you want to send us a text, you can put photos in those texts. You can leave us a voicemail, and we'll get around to it whenever we get around to it as well. So, Tim, we have our YouTube page at youtube.arcaderepairtips.com. Of course, everybody who's watching right now knows that, but maybe you're listening to this on the podcast feed and you're like, man, I'd really like to check out the video of that episode. Then you can go to youtube.arcaderepairtips.com and look up episode 94, which is the one we're doing tonight, and you can watch the video of that episode, see some of the pictures that we discussed, as well as some other things. And we do try to cover comments from the last live show on the next episode. So if you guys leave comments on this video, we will try to cover them on episode 95. So you guys leave your comments. Let us know how we're doing. And just check out our YouTube page in general, youtube.arcaderepairtips.com. Tim, we have our podcast feed that contains our live show audio, interviews, question and answer podcast, and whatever other things we decide to put up there. And you can find that where pretty much you find all the rest of the different podcasts as well. You can send it, or you can subscribe on iTunes at itunes.arcaderepairtips.com. Spotify, which is very popular now, spotify.arcaderepairtips.com, or Audible at audible.arcaderepairtips.com. And you can also leave us reviews on all those platforms. So if you've never left us a review, please do that because it does help promote our podcast to people, gets it seen by a lot bigger audience, and we always appreciate the feedback. So again, if you're using like an iOS device, itunes.arcaderepairtips.com, or if you're a Spotify subscriber, spotify.arcaderepairtips.com, audible.arcaderepairtips.com for Audible people, or just search Arcade Repair wherever fine podcasts are aggregated, and you will find us. So, and then, Tim, we have our social media pages. We have our Facebook page at facebook.arcaderepairtips.com, facebook.arcaderepairtips.com, and our Twitter/X feed at twitter.arcaderepairtips.com. Yes, I still haven't changed it to x.arcaderepairtips.com. Maybe at some point I still call it Twitter for the most part. So it is what it is. It is still kind of Twitter. But you guys can subscribe to our social media feeds. You can find out when the next live shows are. You can find out what deals are out there. You can find out the latest arcade news, all that good stuff. Again, follow us on social media, facebook.arcaderepairtips.com or twitter.arcaderepairtips.com for our Twitter/X feed. And we want to thank Mark for all of the stuff he does as far as keeping that all up to date and keeping us all informed. Tim, I've got some live chat over here before we wrap up the regular part of the podcast here. Let's see. Bobby says, we need more skee ball questions. We don't get many skee ball questions. I don't know. Skee balls are pretty simple, right, Tim?
Well, they can be. And ask away, though. I'll be glad to help you if you're having problems with any of yours.
Absolutely. So, let's see. Jumping General says, hope all is well, guys. Hope all is well with you as well. Bobby Broadway, leave a machine on for Santa with a cookie. Absolutely, let him play some games. Way better than just milking cookies alone. I would say add the arcade game in there, put it by the fireplace for him. And Tim, I think that about sums it up. So now we have the after show coming up. We already talked a little bit about that. We'll be talking about Thanksgiving, what we did for Thanksgiving, Christmas plans coming up. We'll be talking about the stock market, Tim, which we're in a boom period. Yeah. What about that Bitcoin, Tim?
Yeah.
What about that Bitcoin?
I should have kept it at $10, right?
Absolutely, man. You should. Yeah, man. You'd be rich right now. So we'll be talking about the stock market, Bitcoin, how all that stuff's going. Tim will be talking about sports, NFL, college football, NBA, NHL. Whatever you guys want to talk about sports-wise, we'll talk about that. And we're going to talk about some TV shows and movies that we've seen, Tim. Anything that you want to tease there?
I have watched a couple of Christmas movies and
Okay.
a couple new ones I liked.
Gotcha.
We may talk about those.
I saw 2 movies in the theaters
Oh,
over
wow.
the Thanksgiving holiday. I saw the best Christmas pageant ever in Moana 2. So if you want to hear my thoughts on those, stay tuned. I also watched Saturday Night, which is the movie about Saturday Night Live, the very first episode. If you haven't seen that,
nice.
it's pretty
I
good.
haven't seen that yet.
And then I'll be talking about some other things that I watched, including the new Yacht Rock documentary and the new documentary on Madden the game.
Nice.
Okay, so we'll
That'd
talk
be
about that.
interesting.
You guys can hear about that in the after show. But otherwise, Tim, I think we're going to wrap up the regular part of the episode. So if you're so inclined to stay around and hear about those topics, or if you're listening to this on the question and answer podcast feed and you're like, man, I'd really like to check out that after show, make sure you go to YouTube and look up episode 94. Fast forward to the after show part so you can see that. But Tim, it's about time to exit the regular show if
All right.
you guys aren't sticking around. So we want to wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever you celebrate. We hope that you have a wonderful one. And Tim, by the time we come back, I think it'll be 2025.
Yeah. Wow. It's crazy, huh?
So exactly. So we hope that 2024 was good to you. Hopefully you had a wonderful time. Hopefully you have a wonderful New Year's with family, friends, Christmas, all that good stuff. And we'll be around if you guys need questions, if you need help with your arcade repair stuff, questions at arcaderepairtips.com. Let us know. I'm not really taking off a lot of time. Tim, are you taking off some time?
I have most of Christmas week. I work 1 day Christmas week and 1 day New Year's week.
There you go.
That's it. So all out of 2 weeks, 14 days, I have to work 2 days. So,
There you go.
But I'm paying for it. I'm working 6 days next week and probably 4-6 days the week before. So
There you go. So
trip coming up to Slidell, Louisiana, into the Dallas area. So if any of you are in that area, be sure and holler at me.
Sounds good. So, but anyway, guys, we look forward to seeing you next month. So, if this is your first time kind of here, what happens now is that if you want to stick around for the after show, just wait about 5 or 10 minutes and we'll roll right into the after show after this is done. But some of you guys are just interested in the arcade repair questions and topics and things like that. And if that was you, this is where it ends. So if you're so inclined, please stay tuned to the after show. We'll talk a little bit about movies, sports, and other topics. But right now, our arcade repair journey is done for 2024, Tim.
Yep.
So we will still take arcade repair related questions in the live chat in the after show. So if you want to do that, you can stick around. But otherwise, we're so glad that you're here tonight. Thank you, live chat, for being here. Even though the chat was a little wonky tonight, we appreciate you guys sticking through it and making it through the entire show. We hope that we get to see you next time we have the live show in January. And Merry Christmas to you, your loved ones, Happy Holidays, whatever. Like I said, whatever you celebrate, right, Tim?
Right.
We look forward to having a wonderful year in 2025 and hope that you do as well. So without further ado, Tim, I guess here at Arcade Repair Tips, when you fix the game,
Yeah, play the game.
take care, everybody. We'll see you in about 5 minutes for the after show, or we'll see you next month for our January episode 95. Take care, everybody, and good night.
Thank you for watching this episode of the Arcade Repair Tips live show. All of our past episodes are available on our website at arcaderepairtips.com or on our YouTube page. This show is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. Please consult a professional before attempting to repair any coin-operated machines yourself. The preceding program is a Varcade Entertainment production.
And we're back with the after show for episode 94. Tim, I should mention we have our shirts on.
Right.
So I have my hat on.
Can they? I don't know if they can read all of yours.
Yeah, I was about to say, you may need to stand up.
Stand up. I'll show you.
Yes, there you go.
Mine has the, what is it, Krampus?
Krampus, yep. And then this one's a new one for me. This is the I Survived 1988 Nakatomi Plaza. So if you guys get the reference.
Right.
I think we've talked about this before. We had a debate about it, right?
Right. Is it
a Christmas movie? It is a Christmas movie. So there you go.
It's even listed under the Christmas movies on Netflix now.
So yeah. It's definitely a Christmas movie. And you should watch it. It's good. I love Die Hard.
Right.
It's a great movie. If you haven't seen Violent Night, I think we've talked about that in the past.
You said it was pretty...
I have a lot of people who have not seen it. And so they had it on sale for Black Friday. I bought a couple of copies and started handing it out to people. I'm like, you see Violent Night. So, but it's really good. So yeah, Tim.
Excuse me.
So you should have a Beckett coming to your house.
That's cool.
So once you get the first issue, let me know, because sometimes it takes a little bit, but you can bring it with you for the live show or something like that, so we can see. Because it's been a while since I've seen a Beckett.
A long time.
I can't remember the last time. So, but there you go. So we're in the after show. So if you're not familiar with this is basically just like the regular show, except it's like any topic. There's no topic that's off limits, basically. And the main reason is because this gives me and Tim a chance to catch up.
Yeah.
Because
what have we been doing?
and it's like we could do it off the camera, but that's no fun. We have you guys here. So basically, anything you guys want to talk about tonight, if there's any topics you guys want to bring up, you're more than welcome to. Arcade repair questions are still very valid here if you want to put that in the live chat. But otherwise, we'll just be talking about random stuff that me and Tim like to talk about, mainly sports and the economy and TV shows, movies. Last month we talked about politics a little bit, which is really fun. I mean, I don't know. I felt like the discussion was really great on that.
Well, we know that that's a divisive topic.
Right.
So we tried to handle that with ease and grace. We might have opinions, but that's okay. I think we have to get to the point where it's okay to have opinions. And even if we disagree, and you and I don't agree on everything,
right?
That's okay, right? Mm-hmm. So we try to steer away from some topics, but it was too hard to overlook that one. That was
exactly. The election had just basically finished up. Like we knew the results. The election was Tuesday, the results were Wednesday, and then Thursday was the live show.
Yeah.
And so it just kind of, it is what it is kind of thing. So, so just kind of the way it fell, I felt like it was good to do, and I'm glad we did it. So, but no, we're done with politics now for a little bit.
I'm done with it
except for maybe if you had any of that discussion at Thanksgiving. How'd your Thanksgiving go?
Yes, Thanksgiving was really good, but a little different this year.
Okay.
First time Landon has been in the military now for 5 years. And he always takes leave and comes home on Christmas. So we've seen him every Christmas. But he hasn't been coming home on Thanksgiving because he normally doesn't have that much time off.
Right.
Well, this year he moved and got a promotion and moved to Fort Worth. So now he's only 2 hours away. So we had everybody home for Thanksgiving. But he is also married, and my daughter is married. And so, they also have in-laws and other grandparents, and everybody was pulling them every which way because everybody wanted to see them. So we did our Thanksgiving on Friday. Mm-hmm. And let me tell you, I may do it for Friday from now on. It was so great because everything was closed. All we did was Dawn did a lot of cooking. And we just got ready, and then we relaxed on Thanksgiving, and then we had our meal, and we still relaxed. I honestly liked it better. Because sometimes we got to hurry and eat because we got to go to our grandparents. It was more like we were able just to concentrate on our family. But that's how it went. What about you? Did you see your folks?
Yeah, I did. Kind of so I guess every year, Tim, I typically have 4 Thanksgivings.
See?
So it's 4 Thanksgivings. So my first Thanksgiving is the Friday before, and that's our work Thanksgiving.
Okay.
So work caters Thanksgiving meal, and Tim, I work in the corporate section of my company, but we're a manufacturing company, and so Thanksgiving is a time when I get to sit with the manufacturing folks and kind of talk with them. And so I know the manufacturing people because I'm IT, so I'm out there a lot talking with them anyway. But it's kind of nice to not be talking about IT problems.
How many years have you been with them now?
I've been with my company for 12 years.
Wow,
13 next year.
Good. That's awesome.
And so, it's nice just to kind of hang out, have my Thanksgiving lunch and everything like that. Saturday, we did Thanksgiving with my sister-in-law and her husband at her house.
Okay.
So they live in the Dallas area. And so we went up there and we did that, just normal Thanksgiving stuff. And then we came home for a little bit. And we actually had Thanksgiving at home this year. This is the first time in a long time we've had Thanksgiving at our home.
No, at your house.
Yes.
Okay.
And I say that. So Saturday for lunch, we did Thanksgiving with my sister-in-law. Saturday for dinner, we did Thanksgiving with my family.
Okay.
And my mom has not been feeling good. She's been kind of having some health issues. And so we all kind of pitched in and cooked. So
Nice.
My parents bought a Greenberg turkey and a ham.
We did too.
And then we brought the sides. And so it was
If
good.
you guys don't know, we mention this probably every year. We're from a town called Tyler, Texas. It's in East Texas. And we have a world-famous turkey from here. You can go to gobblegobble.com.
Yep.
Gobblegobble.com. You can get one shipped to your door. It's a smoked turkey. It's safe.
Fully cooked.
You fully cooked. You don't have to do anything but open it and carve it and eat it. And
good.
trust me, if you've never had one, it is
One
fantastic.
of Oprah's favorite things.
Yeah. So gobblegobble.com. If you still haven't decided or don't want to make anything for Christmas dinner yet, you still got time, and you can have one delivered to your door. And
Their
don't have to
smoking
touch
facility
it.
burned down a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
And then they rebuilt, and now they're back up to full
But it's
capacity,
huge,
so.
and it really is good. So
Yeah,
Greenberg
turkeys. Here, like, you can just buy them at the store.
Yeah, we
you
go
don't
to the
have to
grocery
order
store.
them, right?
Yeah.
You go to the grocery store, and they're just in the store. So, but Greenbergs are good. So my parents had a Greenberg turkey. So by Saturday, I'd already had 3 Thanksgivings.
Uh-huh.
Okay, by the end of the day, Saturday. And then Thursday.
This is the Saturday after Thanksgiving? Before.
The Saturday
All
before.
before. We haven't even got to Thanksgiving
Right.
Day
So
yet.
and then Thanksgiving Day we had our standard. We did Thanksgiving here at the house.
At the house.
And had a good Thanksgiving.
Just the
So-
4 of you? Or?
and my mother-in-law.
Mother-in-law,
So
okay.
Just
Well,
the 4 of
good.
us and my mother-in-law. So it was easy and it was good. And it was relaxing because we weren't like we weren't rushing.
Kind of how we were.
Yeah.
That's why it just seemed a little better doing
And
it the
so we
day
went
after.
and saw some movies after that. And
Okay.
so I'll talk about those here in a second. Though.
All right.
But Christmas plans. What's your Christmas plans?
Well, again, normally we do a lot of our family gatherings at our house, but my sister-in-law is having surgery, and she's going to be staying with my in-laws, so we're all going over there on Christmas Eve, and I think on Christmas Day we may have a breakfast or something at our house, but we're just going to relax. I do have some time off coming, which I really need. I've been traveling a lot and putting in a lot of hours, but it's been good. So I'm ready to just relax. And hopefully, what's really exciting, maybe the next week we might go to the cabin in Jefferson, Texas, and actually just get away for a few days and relax.
Sounds good.
But we'll see.
Yeah, absolutely. So for us, it'll be we'll go to my sister-in-law's at some point, and we'll celebrate Christmas over there. Probably, I think the weekend before Christmas is what the plan is right now, something like that. And then Christmas Day, we'll go to we'll do Christmas at our house, and probably with my mother-in-law, and then Christmas with my family that evening. So, or actually, no, we'll probably do it that evening. My sister. It's her turn for her and her husband's family to have Christmas with them.
Okay.
And so she'll be coming in closer to New Year's, and we'll do Christmas with them around New Year's. So it's it's just all that kind of stuff. So but looking forward to a good Christmas, trying to get all that Christmas shopping done like we talked about. Delusional's Arcade's here, Tim. He says hi all, and Geeklight says greets Dell, and we'll say the same. How's it going?
Hey, Dale.
So there we go. Good stuff there. Looking forward to Christmas. Now, Tim, let's talk about your investments. I don't know if you looked at your 401k lately, but mine looks great.
Yeah, it looks better. And, it's funny. I kept just some old Doge coins and stuff. I just kept them on my... I said, I'm going to check my Robinhood. Like, that's what the heck? I had not checked it in a while. So, yes, and... we talked about this a long time ago when I thought that the stock market, I told you, I said, I'm pulling a lot of my money out. I told you there's 2 things I was investing in. One was oil and another was gold.
Right.
And oil has not panned out yet.
Nope.
But gold, it's weird because the price of a barrel of oil is way down.
Right.
To where it was when Trump was president the first time.
Yes.
But we're not seeing the same numbers.
But you got to remember what happens. The stock market is a 6-month lag,
right?
Or it's always trying to predict 6 months ahead. So they know in 6 months Trump's going to be president. He's going to probably ease the oil drilling, and at that point the supply will increase, and so the market is already reacting to those.
I think so.
That's part of it.
So, but my gold stocks have definitely been really solid.
Good.
So that's been kind of a blessing, and I'm still throwing a little bit of money into it. $2,700 an ounce. That's crazy.
Yeah.
An ounce. That's not very much, right?
Right.
Not a pound, an ounce. So, I think that those were some good investments. But, there's a lot of stuff coming down the pipe and new stuff. So, I'm starting to get... in fact, just the other day, I'm kind of going back into some of my chat groups, and I'm starting to get a little easing back in. I've got some cash in my Webull account that I don't have anything just sitting there. I'm like, I'm starting to look for
it's all from dividends, though.
I'm looking for something to start. I probably will start pulling the trigger and maybe up my investment a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's going to be... right now prices are high. I don't think they can go much higher for a lot of stocks. I could be wrong about that. But I think we're really high right now because the market is reacting to some of the... There's probably going to be some... lowering of regulations, is that a good way to say it?
Yes.
With the new administration coming in, and so the market's kind of reacting to that. I don't know if we're going to... I think it's going to level off probably pretty soon. But,
what'll help us with if interest rates go down.
For sure.
What's weird is, we have not bought... We were just talking about it. We just paid off both vehicles, and we're not in a hurry. We're like, we could go without a payment for a couple months, but if we run across a good deal.
Sure.
The problem is interest rates.
Yes, interest rates are high.
Yeah, my truck was at 2.99. You ain't finding that now.
Now, you can refinance a car loan.
Right.
Do people know this?
Yes.
So you can refinance a car loan. So even if you're in a high interest rate right now, you can refinance it to a lower rate. We talked about this. Credit unions are the way to go a lot of times for cheap car loan rates. So, get with a good credit union and see what the rates are. I always take that to the dealership with me, whatever my credit union rate is. So that way I have it right there locked in. But you can refinance that. So even if you buy a car at a 6 or 7% interest rate and then 6 months from now rates tank, you can always jump back in, refinance at a lower rate and be okay. So if you need to.
So something that we're kind of considering. So maybe I'm really starting to, my ears are starting to perk back up a little bit. Right. I don't know. I was so shy there for a while. And I did come out okay. Yeah, I might have gained 10% interest.
Right.
Whereas I didn't lose any.
Sure.
Which is good, but not the gains that I was seeing back in 2019 and stuff.
For sure. But yeah, right now, economy's good. So let's ride it, Tim.
Right.
That's what I would say. Let's ride it. But there you go. How about a little bit of sports talk, Tim? You want to talk about those Dallas Cowboys or no?
2-game win streak. I hate to get too excited. they sure can.
Are you team tank or are you team all in?
No, I am. I'm always. I think you should never tank. I want to pay people to play their best, and I want them to know no spot is guaranteed. And they should be playing their heart outs to keep their job.
Right.
And so if your job's having a bad year, you don't just tank. Yeah. Right? You tried your best to do the least bad you can.
Sure.
Because most drafts are not won in the first or two draft picks. They're won in the 4th, 6th, and 5th rounds.
For sure.
So it's not really about the draft pick to me. I want to see some young... here's my deal, though. Why are we not playing people... when we were losing, we still have a quarterback that never gets to play.
Right.
And I'm like, he can't do much worse most days.
Right.
So why not let these guys play? And if nothing else, they'll decide whether to keep them next year based on their performance this year.
Yep.
So I'm in the boat that we should play every game like it's our last, and that we are playing for a playoff spot.
Yep.
Now.
We could win out.
Some glimpses. We
could end up 10-7.
And we don't have a horrible schedule.
Right. No, we don't.
And so, some of the teams, but we're nowhere on the same level as, say, the Detroit Lions right now.
Right.
And so, would I rather us be better next year? Maybe. I don't know. I don't really care about draft picks because I've seen so many players be bust and that weren't, and I've seen so many players that were picked up later in the draft, but we definitely need to go to the draft. I'm more excited about some of the players coming out of college that could have a real impact that may be available. So I would like to see us get some running back and some other people. But, I'm going to be rooting that we win every game.
Okay. Well, let's talk about college real quick then, Tim. Did you watch the Texas A&M game?
I did not watch it. I did see the highlights and watched maybe.
So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're from Texas, this is the first year that Texas and Texas A&M have played each other in, 15 years?
I think like since 2011 or
Yeah,
something.
I mean, it's been forever. And so this used to be the game that every Thanksgiving, the Saturday after Thanksgiving, man, you would watch. Right? Or Friday, sometimes Friday, Saturday. And then, of course, when Texas A&M went to SEC, that all stopped. And now that Texas is in the SEC, we got to play them again. And, Tim, we showed them, 4? So, now Texas is in the SEC championship game against Georgia.
Yeah, that'll be a good game.
It will be. So, looking forward to that. Tim, any other college football comments you want to talk about? Any other teams? I know Oklahoma, obviously.
Well,
how do you feel about that?
They're definitely, everything has changed since the NIL. It's just,
yeah.
And I think our quarterback has already announced he started off horrible. Got replaced, came back, started playing really good, and now it's going to the transfer portal.
Yep.
The best, probably the highest rated quarterback Oklahoma has drafted or signed in years, played 1 year.
Right.
So, it's just the way it is. I would be really frustrated as a college coach because you don't have time to really develop players and stuff. And so, I don't know. I'm getting a little bit frustrated with it. But at the same time, we beat Alabama 24-3.
Yep.
And so I saw glimpses of a much, much, much better defense than we've had in years. So pretty excited. I think we'll make a bowl game. And I think that before, Oklahoma team would say, well, we're not going to play in the Independence Bowl or whatever. We'll turn that down. No, I think they'll take whatever they can get and try to win it. I think they'll play a lot of younger players. I think the Independence Bowl will be a good pick for them. Just making a bowl game, I think it'll be like the 18th year in a row or something. That's still a lot to say. So I still like the bowl system, but I'm really excited for the playoff
12-team playoff system.
Now, I'm glad I don't have to pick the 12 teams.
Me too.
That's...
Goodness.
It's kind of gotten more competitive. A few surprises, but... team like Colorado on the outside.
Right.
That's tough. I think that they're one of the best. I think they're one of the top 12 teams.
Right.
But they're not going to be in it.
Right.
So, I know there'll be some bugs and quirks with it, but also don't think they're the best team.
Right.
Either. I don't think they would win it all. So, may not matter.
Hey, you never know, though. I mean, it's like the same reason we watch March Madness, right? You got Cinderellas
exactly.
or whatever.
And so, I think that we probably will see some upsets. I don't know that... Who's the number one team? Would be Oregon right now?
I think so.
With Oklahoma's quarterback last year. Thank you, Dylan Gabriel, for going and transferring. That was a funny one. He's from there, and when he left Oklahoma, they didn't get mad. They were like, thanks. Thanks for playing for us and giving us a shot at a really good team. And that was it. They were really nice to him.
Right.
So it's kind of weird. We just live in a different time.
All the rules are weird now. With
Texas definitely looks really good at times.
Yeah.
And then they can really...
I think that Texas got the number one draft pick, though, out of this last class, or what people would consider like the top drafted high school player.
Right.
Yeah. I saw that on the news, I think, like the other day. So, I mean, I think we're going to be good for... Here's the thing. Alabama had figured out the way to game the system. Right?
Yeah.
And so that's why they were winning all the time. Well, guess what? Now the system is wide open, right?
Yeah.
Like, now it's all about money.
Yeah,
and
it is.
Texas has always had money.
Right.
Money is never... But look at SMU, Tim.
Right.
Like, SMU is good, too, right?
Right.
So, I mean, but what does SMU also have? Money.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, that's what we're going to see, I think. We're going to see a lot of teams with the capability to pay players, take the good players, Right. I mean, so... Whereas Alabama had all their workarounds... Nobody needs the workarounds anymore. It was
a big deal to go to Alabama. All the top recruits were going there, and they just kept getting better every year.
Absolutely.
And now you can only play so much, and so the players are going where the money is.
Absolutely.
I don't know, but I do like the playoff system. I like still having the bowl games. I like the way it's fixed up. And I like 12 teams. I think that's a good number.
Absolutely.
I was kind of shocked they went to 12. I thought it would be 8. Or, and so... 12 is really good. Gives that kind of that team that's surging at the end of the year. Also encourages teams to play their players and not, last year everybody rested.
Yes.
And I hated that. It's like there wasn't a lot of pride.
Now you got to play to the end.
Exactly.
Because if you want
you're
those
one
spots,
of the top 12 teams
exactly.
you're going to, yeah.
Exactly. So you got to make sure you hold on to that spot. I like it too.
I like it.
So looking forward to seeing how it all plays out, though. It's going to be interesting. Tim, let's talk about NBA real quick. I don't know if you're a big follower of the NBA, but you may know that there's a mid-season tournament going on right now called the Emirates Cup, Tim.
I did not know this.
Okay, so there's a mid-season tournament, okay, and basically it's kind of part of the regular season, but there's a week where basically everybody has off except the teams that are in the tournament,
okay.
Right? And so right now, the Dallas Mavericks are in the tournament. They're in the quarterfinal. Okay. We play OKC in the quarterfinal, I think, next Thursday.
Nice.
But here's the thing, we have regular season games up to that point. Okay?
Oh,
like
crazy.
all of this is still regular season, right? Until like the tournament, that 1 week of tournament games. Okay. And so this is this the second year they've done this? Second year, I think.
Maybe.
Second year they've done the Emirates Cup. But I mean, I'm not a big fan of this mid-season tournament thing, but I think it's cool. I mean, it gives you something to root for.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. It's different. And so I am rooting for the Dallas Mavericks, Tim, and we have been on a tear. 9 of our last 10 we have won. We were kind of rough going into that, but Tim, it hasn't been Kyrie and Luka stepping up as much as our role players have been stepping up. You know, it's been Spencer Dinwiddie, guys like that. PJ Washington.
Right.
You know, it's the
threes.
role players. Once the role players come through, Tim, that's when the Mavericks are playing their best, and that's what we've seen recently. Look, Kyrie and Luka can only do so much. They're two-man wrecking crew, and they can score a lot of points, but they're always going to get their points.
Right.
The only way you win is if you either limit the other team, you play really good defense, and you limit the other team to how much they're scoring, or the role players step up and we outscore the other team. Those are the only two ways that we can win.
You got to have bench players.
Right. So, but that's what's been happening. Either the defense has been stepping up. When Luka was out recently, Tim, with an injury, the defense stepped up. They stepped up their defensive effort. It was obvious. Now that Luka's back, though, now we're seeing that effort being stepped up on the offensive side from the role players, which is the key. Your bench players. Those are the guys you need stepping up. And so it's a fun team to watch. Man, you should be watching. You should be watching the Dallas Mavericks. So, golly, so much fun. And Klay Thompson's been okay. I mean, I don't know if he's been worth the money.
Hasn't been the game changer that I thought he would be.
No. I mean,
but there's flashes.
Yeah, exactly. Every so often he'll have games where he goes off, but he's not exactly. And I think he's injured right now.
Yeah.
He's fighting through some injuries. So,
something's up. Yeah.
Absolutely. So, but the Emirates Cup's coming up. They'll have the playoff for that, or the 1 week worth of tournament games, and it's single elimination, Tim. At this point,
nice.
You lose against OKC,
You're
Dallas lose against OKC, done. Okay, so that's what makes it fun, right? Just single elimination going forward. We'll see what happens. So, Tim, the Dallas Stars are doing pretty well in the NHL. They're 16-9, so happy about that. And I mean, WWE, we've been watching with the kids. You mentioned pro wrestling earlier. I won't talk too much about that. Just to say, we've been enjoying it lately, and it's been fun. And I think we're gonna go to another event pretty soon. So, and I think is it next weekend? Is it next weekend or this weekend? It is next weekend. They're having a Saturday night's main event on NBC. They haven't done that since I was a kid.
That's crazy.
So actually on like mainstream television, NBC, Saturday night before like Saturday Night Live in the local news, you'll get some
wrestling.
wrestling.
It'll be on Peacock.
So.
Yeah,
Peacock too. Peacock too. No, Peacock and NBC.
NBC.
So,
okay.
There you go. Tim, let's talk about some movies and some TV shows. Give me what you got.
Well, I watched the new Christmas. I'm just watching basically all those Hallmark type Christmas movies that are on Netflix now.
Yes.
But the new one with Lindsay Lohan in it, it was actually really good. Okay. I kind of enjoyed it. I think it's called A Little Secret.
Yes, I've seen the little cover for it.
It's actually, because everyone you see has the same thing. Go back home and they're going to. This is different. I liked it. I liked the secret that they had, and it's kind of a fun take on that.
Okay, so is that a movie or a show?
It's a movie.
Okay, movie.
It's a movie. So, I'm still watching The Good Wife. We talked about that before. There's 7 seasons, and they're long, and it just. I swear I'm going to watch one episode and it turns into 3 a night, and I'm still in 4th season.
And there you go.
It's one of those that always ends, and I want to see what happens. So
absolutely.
I've enjoyed that. We were watching some of the JonBenet Ramsey documentary.
Yes, I've seen that on Netflix.
And that's really interesting. It's still a lot of mystery even after all these years. So that's really movies. Have not been to the movies and haven't really been home or had time.
Everybody else has been going to the movies apparently.
Yeah,
because man, it was packed and the box office was rocking.
Right.
Golly, people were making Tim, the big releases were Wicked.
Yes.
And you've probably seen like a million trailers. Like,
right.
My sister was like, I just don't see any advertisements for Wicked. I'm like, I don't know what you're watching. I see
right.
them all the freaking time. Now, I have Peacock. I have NBC, right? Like, that's... Comcast owns Universal, right? Which is doing Wicked. So I get that. But I've only heard good things about Wicked. So hopefully, if you've seen it, let us know. But
I want to see it.
So I've seen the musical. Okay, I've been... And it's very good. And they break it... the musical has an intermission, so the two parts that we're going to have, the first part is right before intermission, and the second part's after intermission.
Okay.
So it's the same kind of thing. So my sister, sister who has a master's degree in music, says it was great, and she loved it. So, but we went and saw the best Christmas pageant ever, which is a it's a Christmas movie that's very much in the vein of like A Christmas Story.
Okay.
Basically, and it talks about this one Christmas pageant where. Basically her mother ran it. It was in the 80s and all the stuff that happened. And it's very cute. And I think it's going to come out on demand here in a couple weeks, I saw.
Okay.
So, it was cute. It was probably a little bit too over the head for my youngest, my son who's 6.
Okay.
Like, he got a little bored in it. But, my daughter who was 11 really liked it. Tim, this is one of the movies... You okay?
Yeah, I'll get a drink.
You know how everything has gone to, like, quick cuts. Like 3 to 5 second cuts. Bam, bam,
right.
Bam. I'm changing my camera angle. I'm changing it here. This is shot in a traditional styling.
Okay.
And so I think that's one of the reasons why, like, my littlest didn't like it, because it's like these long panning shots and like the camera kind of focusing, very much like A Christmas Story, or like what you get with some of these others. And so, and it's a cute story. I can tell you basically the gist of it. There are these kids that live in this town, and they're kind of evil kids. Okay. But they decide that the church is putting on a Christmas pageant in this town, and these evil kids decide they want to be a part of it. Okay. And the townspeople are they're going out of their minds about it. So that is what the entire gist of the movie is. So I mean, and when it comes out on demand, you should watch it. It was good. I probably like a pretty good 6 or 7 out of 10 is what I would say, 6 or 7-ish. So definitely want to watch it again. It's not going to blow your doors off or anything, but if you like a good Christmas movie, it's a good Christmas movie. How about that?
Okay.
Let's talk about Moana 2. Did you like Moana?
I have not seen it.
Okay, you should watch it.
Okay.
But if you like Moana, you will like Moana 2. It is more. Okay?
I was at the movies inspecting today, and they were saying they were actually surprised how it's doing just as good almost as Wicked, and both are doing way better than Gladiator.
Yeah. No. Moana 2 blew the doors off Wicked.
Wow.
Money-wise. Almost double.
That's crazy.
And it's because the whole family can go see it. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, Wicked, I didn't feel good about taking my youngest to. Okay. But Moana 2 was fine. And in fact, I think one of his friends is having a birthday party at the theater to see Moana 2. Okay, I mean, it's big. Moana is a good movie anyway, and Moana 2 is good. And Disney is at their best when they're not trying to shoehorn in like all the political stuff into their movies, when they just tell a good story. Okay. And this is what they did. It's a good story. I would call Moana 2 a solid 7 or 8.
Nice.
Okay, out of 10, with 10 being the top. So, if you enjoy a good story, if you enjoy action and adventure and all that kind of stuff, awesome. Does a great job. It makes you feel there's like kind of a battle at the end. Makes you feel like the stakes are high. I mean, that's
what
important.
If you've never seen Moana 1?
You need to see it first.
Watch first. Okay.
So if you have Disney Plus though, watch it.
We have it.
Yeah, if you have Disney Plus, just watch Moana 2. Watch it with your daughter, and your daughter has probably seen it, but watch it with her or something. She'd probably watch it again with you because it's really good. Okay. Let's talk about Saturday Night. Okay. Saturday Night is
about
the movie,
the original Saturday Night Live.
The very first episode of Saturday Night Live.
Okay.
That is what the movie is about. Now here's the thing. It's crazy. It's wild, right? Like what went on. It paints John Belushi like he's just totally nuts. Okay. And Chevy Chase like he's a egomaniac. Which people have said that's the case.
I could almost believe it. Yeah.
So the movie is highly entertaining. And is fast. Okay, we're talking about the best Christmas pageant ever being like kind of plotting and slow. Like Saturday Night, it's like bam, 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 bam. Like the whole time it's throwing stuff at you. Like fast dialogue. Like we talked about The Diplomat last month. Yeah. The Diplomat has very fast dialogue. Like that. Okay, where you get this bam, 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 bam. This. The people who play Chevy Chase, John Belushi.
They nail the parts.
Billy Crystal. Oh my gosh, they nail it. It's amazing.
Okay, good.
The one thing about it is that it does not actually show you the first episode.
Okay.
So if you have Peacock, which is what I did, go on and watch the first episode of Saturday Night Live after you.
Nice.
You should do that. But it is really... The people who play the parts... George Carlin was the first guest.
Oh.
And Matthew Rhys from The Americans plays him. And I didn't even recognize him. He looked like George Carlin.
Wow.
It was amazing. So it was good. If you're a Saturday Night Live fan at all, you should watch it.
Now, I see one we both watched.
Okay. Cobra Kai?
I did watch Cobra Kai.
The new episodes? Yes.
I watched them all. I had to
Me
binge
too.
it. I was on the plane. I was watching them all.
Yes, so I watched all of the new Cobra Kais, and they were fantastic.
As always.
The Saikai Taikai.
Yeah.
There's really not a cameo of there is kind of a cameo, but the one everybody was talking about was the computer generated one. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yes. So I don't want to spoil it too much, but it's good.
Yeah.
I thought it was good. Did a really good job with the story, and I'm looking forward to the last 5 episodes in February.
Come on with it.
Absolutely. So, and I know they're going to connect all this to Karate Kid Legends, the movie.
I think so.
So you and me may have to go see that.
For sure.
Okay, because as soon as Cobra Kai's over, I'm ready for Karate Kid Legends with Ralph Macchio and Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
So let's do it. Watching Night Court on NBC, still highly recommended if you just want a lighthearted sitcom. Nobody Wants This on Netflix. Have you seen this with Kristen Bell?
No.
Okay, so it is a rom-com TV show where a woman who has her own adult podcast where they talk about adult topics falls in love with a rabbi.
Okay.
That's the concept of the show, and like really falls in love with him.
Okay.
And they fall in love with each other. But if you like rom-coms,
I'll probably
and
like it.
you think that premise is kind of quirky, you'll like it.
Okay.
Nobody wants this on Netflix.
I think I've seen that.
Yeah, and it's really good. Kristen Bell and Adrian, what's his name, who plays the guy. So anyway.
I'm going to make a note on that one. Go ahead.
Okay, let's talk about Yacht Rock, a documentary.
Okay.
On HBO Max. Okay, so we talked about another Yacht Rock documentary, Sometimes When We Touch, which was on Paramount.
Yes.
Okay, we talked about that. This one is better. This one has Christopher Cross, Michael McDonald, and they're talking about... Like the other one I felt like was just kind of talking about how it affected the culture. This is actually talking about the history of Yacht Rock and how it really kind of started with Steely Dan was their point. Like Steely Dan was kind of the takeoff point for Yacht Rock.
Right.
But this documentary is better than the Sometimes When We Touch documentary on Paramount Plus.
Okay.
So if you're interested in the history of Yacht Rock, and there are certain criteria that it must meet in order to be Yacht Rock.
Okay.
Hall & Oates. Not Yacht Rock.
Yeah.
Okay? It has to be... There's certain musicians and producers. And Michael McDonald's a big part of it. Okay?
Okay.
That if it has Michael McDonald, it's almost automatically Yacht Rock.
You do realize you just said the Mandela effect, right?
Really?
Hall & Oates.
Oh, Hall & Oates. There you go.
It's Daryl Hall and John Oates.
Right.
But I remember it as Hall & Oates.
Right.
But they say that you go back, you can't find an album called Hall & Oates.
Is it? Okay.
It's a Mandela effect.
Oh, there you go.
See, we're living in the Matrix. We know we are. Okay.
But anyway, so but there are certain bands that are not Yacht Rock, even though they have the sound. The people who are in the documentary are, like I said, Michael McDonald, Christopher Cross, Kenny Loggins.
Okay.
Even though Kenny Loggins evolved his sound.
Yeah.
Okay. He was Yacht Rock, but he kind of evolved that.
So you liked it? Is it interesting?
Oh, it's great. You should watch it. So I just finished up this one.
Okay.
It's in the game, Madden NFL, the documentary about Madden on Prime Video.
So it's just about the making of the game?
So it jumps back and forth between the history and the current 2025 version.
Wow.
It jumps back and forth. So here's the problem. I enjoyed the history a lot more than I enjoyed them talking about the new version. Okay? Like me personally.
They're trying to sell it.
Right. So the history part, where they break it is logical. It's like they break... so it tells the history of like Madden and everything in the first one. The second one, it talks about how they kind of evolved it. Then it gets to the PlayStation, and they get kind of beat out by NFL Game Day, which is Sony's game. And then it breaks there. One episode breaks there. And then the other point where it breaks is when the Dreamcast comes out and Sega starts doing the NFL 2K series. And that starts to put Madden on the ropes as well. And so they break it at very logical places in the history of Madden. But I never realized how much input John Madden had in the game.
Oh.
That is something that you will not realize.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
I didn't very much at all, really. Just
a ton.
Voiceovers.
No. So if you watch the documentary, the history part is fascinating.
That's good.
Because it makes you realize that John Madden had a huge part in the making of especially the first Madden games.
That's cool.
Okay, like he told them, at first they wanted to put out a game with his name, and they wanted to make it like 8-on-8 because they were having a hard time putting 11-on-11 on the screen because of hardware limitations and graphics. And John Madden basically said, "You ain't put my name on it if it's not 11-on-11."
Okay.
Okay, so he told them straight up, like, it ain't, and the input that he gave, like, so they would play the game, and he's like, "Look, that guy would never block that guy like that.
Yeah.
That guy's toes pointed in the wrong direction." Like, he would tell them all this stuff. Like, he'd give them a
Nice.
ton of input on, like, this, and I would never run this play, or whatever. I mean, like, it was amazing.
Nice.
Like, and so the amount of input John Madden had into Madden is way more than I think I definitely thought, and maybe a lot of you thought. So that's why you should watch it, is so you can see John Madden talking with the development teams about like all the stuff. The history part is way more interesting than they're kind of promoting the new version of the game, the 2025 too. It's kind of it's like, oh, we're promoting the new version and we're telling the history of the game, right? But they talk about like that in the new version. They were talking about how they improved the physics, how they had to do the new kickoff. Like they didn't find out the kickoff rules. Like they didn't know they were going to approve that. So as soon as they approve it, they put a guy on it to get that done, and he has to do it. Before the game releases. Like, this is something people want, right?
Sure.
And they literally found out, like, 4 months, I think, before release of the game.
Wow.
So, like, they had to get that done. Stuff like that. And,
Speaking of which, do you like it?
Madden?
No, the new kickoff rule.
I like it. Yeah, I like it better. Yeah, I'm good with that. I like the new...
Turpin likes it.
Yeah, I like the UFL. I mean, the XFL, UFL style kickoff is what they... I mean, it's basically... That's what they took it from. And I liked it. I like that rule. I think it's safer for the guys on the field.
Yeah.
And that's what matters. But they talk about how they had to adapt that. They added a new physics engine. How they have to model all the rookies. So when they get drafted, they have to, they invite the top draftees to come to EA and model them and everything like that. I mean, it's a process. Golly, there's a million different things to it.
Nice.
And you got to remember, think about how many people play Madden and how many opinions there are about the game. Golly, they're having to balance all that stuff. So... It is amazing, the amount of work that goes into it. I am not a huge new Madden fan. I played the older games. I'm not the kind of guy who sits down and plays Madden now. But I will say that I appreciate the amount of work and thought and things that go into the game. And a lot of the game and the way it plays, even now, was influenced by John Madden.
Nice.
And people, you may not know that, but that's what you should watch the documentary for.
Okay.
John Madden was not going to put his name on something and then just let them do whatever. He wanted to make sure that it was his influence on the game. Right. And so that's what the documentary is about. So, and if you have Prime Video, you should watch it. It's 4 episodes, I think, and it's worth your time. So, anything else?
No, I think I'm getting about ready, and we got stuff to do. The live chat's been kind of quiet tonight. Hope you guys are still around.
Yeah, it's quiet. And like I said, we've been having problems with the chat, too.
Hopefully everything's okay over there.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know if we're all...
we bored you all to sleep. We don't know.
So, but I'm looking forward to... I think there's a lot of other stuff coming out, Tim, like on Netflix and things. So looking forward to seeing a couple other things and things like that. So, but... we hope you guys have, like I said, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, like we said at the end of the regular show. Hopefully you spend some time with some loved ones and open some great presents, get some great stuff and all that kind of stuff. And Santa brings you what you're looking for. But it's great doing this month. And Tim, I feel like I was behind. I didn't get the links in the
that's all right.
show description and all
We'll
this kind of
forgive you.
stuff. I'll put them there tomorrow. So, and I'll do the chapter stuff and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be tomorrow though. But thanks for joining us, guys. Thanks to the live chat. We look forward to and Geeklight08 series says check out High Potential, Tim. I don't know what High Potential is, but High Potential. There you go. But we look forward to seeing you guys next month. Golly, Tim, 2025 sounds like a futuristic thing of some sort. That it's just weird, right? I feel like
It doesn't seem real.
It's not real. So,
this year has flown by.
It really has. So, but we wish you the best end of this year, next year, as you can get. Happy New Year to you, your family, and hope you have a wonderful Christmas. Happy holidays, and we'll see you next year.
Bye, everybody.
Take care, everybody. Good night. Out. Okay.